Welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this month. The White House has contingency plans in case something happens to him. So do I. I'm playing Wine Fairy to all of my friends and having a big party over Zoom. When news of the diagnosis came out, Fox started composing and recording funeral music, just in case. Ivanka Trump tweeted that her father is a warrior and that he would beat the virus. I don't know, Ivanka. This seems a lot more serious than non-existent bone spurs. If Trump loses this election, they'll have to fumigate the White House before Joe Biden moves in. They were planning to do that before COVID, just to get rid of 4 years of Big Mac-induced farts. For months, Trump has been ignoring the virus and is now using it to his political advantage. Basically, he's treating the virus like one of his kids. I can't wait until I go to family gatherings and hug my relatives again. Not out of affection. I may be asymptomatic, and there are a few older relatives I want to put out of their misery. Luckily, none of them are thinking of listening to this podcast, so I'm safe. Waffle houses across the country have tables and chairs outside so customers can eat to maintain social distancing. Basically, Waffle House has made it look like Paris if it decided to go American white trash. In Maryland, the first thing to open were golf courses. Not the least of which is because the last person to which anyone wants to be closer than 6 feet is someone who dresses for golf. Presumably the people who tend to want to golf during a pandemic are such dicks, their families can't wait to get them out of the house. The University of Alabama reported 560 coronavirus cases in the first week of classes. Sadly, this is the closest that anyone in Alabama has ever come to working with a petri dish. CNN suspended analyst Jeffrey Toobin after he accidentally flashed himself during an online meeting. It's a shame for Jeffrey Toobin that he isn't a comedian. If he was, Louis C.K. would have taken him on tour. Sports teams this year had cutouts of fans to help combat the spread of the virus. Most notably, the Miami Marlins did not do this because the pandemic is so bad in Florida that even the cutouts tested positive. Similarly, they didn't do that at Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore because the cutouts overdosed on heroin.
Oh.
You know your team sucks when the only thing that can fill their stadium parking lots is free COVID-19 testing. After testing positive for the virus, Justin Turner returned to the field and posed without a mask with the Los Angeles Dodgers following their World Series win. In response, the Republican National Committee offered him a job. Not as a candidate for office. They want him to talk to voters in mostly non-white and economically disadvantaged precincts. On that note, on with the show. Now, because I'm known as a selfish asshole and a notorious douchebag, it's been advised that I not do this podcast on my own. So, joining me to absorb some of the hate on social media and elsewhere, Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello.
Hey, Tom.
I did not sign up for that.
Abby, how have you been during this pandemic?
Yeah, no, I'm just, living the dream in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Baltimore, where they haven't picked up our trash or recycling in weeks. And just really, it's been real heaven over here.
And then the pandemic took over.
Right. Yeah. And that was January.
Jeff, how about you?
It's not what I envisioned when I retired from my job with the federal government. I worked for 31 years with the federal government, and I expected to spend some time traveling and being outdoors a lot. And none of that's happened. And basically, I'm in the same situation as I would have been if I stayed at work, which would be sitting in the house and on Zoom a lot.
While you were employed by the federal government, you were basically holding everything together the whole time.
I wasn't. You're absolutely right. It all went to hell. It wasn't.
Have you guys been doing, I've seen you guys a lot on Facebook and all doing like Zoom shows?
Yeah, but it's not the same. Having nobody laugh is what's supposed to happen. When you're at a bar with a disinterested crowd, no one's laughing, and you get frustrated because they may not be there for the show. They're talking to their friends. Here, again, you're used to nobody laughing, but there's nobody to laugh.
I'm starting to like performing on Zoom and Skype. I like doing stuff like this. I mean, I love the live stuff better because I like being in front of an audience. But, the thing is, if you piss off an audience member during a live show, they'll want to, fight you afterwards and kick your ass. But, if I'm performing at home, then someone who's pissed off will have to find out where I live. And even if they do find out where I live, there's a very good chance that they'll get taken out by a Maryland driver. There are many theories about the origins of COVID-19, from as simple as someone eating a bat in China to a lab funded by the deep state manufacturing the virus to keep us docile. Such theories also stretch as to why the virus hit the country with such vigor. I have my own theory as to why the virus started by heavily striking New York City, mainly that COVID-19 is China's revenge for New York City comedians defending Shane Gillis. Joining us tonight to discuss this topic is Forbes magazine contributor and science writer Tara Haley.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show. I imagine you've not had any free time lately.
No,
the past 8 months.
And especially March. March was a bit of a blur because it was just nonstop work. Just pumping out stories and explaining things to people. And then I eventually crashed, but yeah, March was crazy. A lot of it was just explaining basic epidemiology, how epidemiology works, how you look for where a disease originated and how it moves through a population, explaining epidemiological terms, just explaining the lingo because it's something that I'm familiar with because I've been writing about it for so long, explaining top concepts like herd immunity and PCR testing, pre-symptomatic versus asymptomatic infection, why it takes so long to get a vaccine, like what the vaccine process is, all kinds of things like that. And one of the big ones more recently has been the difference between what, airborne versus droplet transmission versus aerosols transmission. That's been a big one it continues to be confusing for a lot of people. I think people still don't quite get that it's not air you have to worry about. It's people and people in the air around you that you have to worry about. There seems to be this misunderstanding that, if you walk outside your door, it's equal risk to standing in line inside of a restaurant. And oh, no, it's a continuum risk. And walking outside your door is just fine. And walking into a restaurant, that's a much higher risk. So, a lot of it's been risk communication, helping people understand how to make sense of the risks and understand how to assess, what they feel comfortable doing.
Would you recommend anything that people would go to if they want any particular information? I mean, I know cable news ratings have gone up because they have, experts on there talking about stuff like that. Do you recommend that people rely on only that kind of stuff for information, or is there anything else?
Well, I'll be honest, I have not watched a news show on television in over a decade because for the most part, I'm not very impressed with TV journalism. That's not to say there isn't some good TV journalism out there. There is, but it's hard to find. It's the exception rather than the rule. And that even goes for networks that I think have fantastic reporters, honestly. I can recommend several publications online for reading. Elemental is one that I read a lot, which a lot of people haven't even heard of. It's a Medium publication, but it's an actual, it actually has editors and they have fantastic work. Washington Post has been doing a crackerjack job as they have for the past several years anyway. I recommend Science Magazine if people want to get into the nitty-gritty science news. And I recommend STAT, S-T-A-T, that they've been doing. I mean, STAT is actually who broke. Helen Branswell is a colleague of mine who works at STAT, and she's the one who broke the story about the coronavirus. The New York Times has done an okay job, but I have some issues with some of their reporting. Their reporting has been spotty in different ways, just as it has been with election and politics. So it's kind of like you got to know, you want to, if you read the New York Times, you want to read other sources too, which is kind of a sad thing for me to say since I've written for them. But if I had to choose just one source to regularly go to that was covering all kinds of news, not just coronavirus, Washington Post really is the gold standard right now. They've been doing a phenomenal job, but I certainly don't want to leave out some of the other. Scientific American's done a great job if you want to get into the science.
As far as the White House is concerned, the pandemic is over. It's almost like a frog being in a pot of slowly boiling water. It won't realize the water is boiling until it's too late, killing the frog. In this scenario, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows is the frog, except he realizes the water is boiling, and he's willing himself into his political death, as we can see from these clips where he's talking to CNN's Jake Tapper, and again, while conversing with reporters.
So here's what we have to do. we're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation.
Why aren't we going to get
areas
control of the pandemic?
Because it is a contagious virus, just like the flu.
Yeah, but why not
It's
make efforts to contain it?
Well, we are making efforts to contain it.
By running all over the country, not wearing a mask?
I tell you what, let me do this. Let me pull this away.
Yep, pull away.
And then that way I can take this off the top. Well, I'm more than 10 feet away. I'm not going to talk through a mask.
I love how he thinks, he's not going to answer any questions as a threat.
He's basically saying, we're not going to try to prevent anyone from getting it. We just want people to not die from it. He's like, we're going to give people drugs, vaccines. And I'm like, this is the equivalent of being like, no. We have plenty of condoms. We're not going to hand them out. We just really want to invest in syphilis medicine. And we hope nobody gets to the stage where their brain starts disintegrating. We're going to catch them before that. But condoms, that's just too much. Who could stop the spread?
We're not going to tell you what you can do not to get syphilis. Which is what they could be doing.
Yeah, that pretty much nails it. I've seen that clip, and toward the end of that clip, he actually contradicts himself anyway. He just says, "Oh yeah, no, we are going to try and control it," but then he immediately says after that, "But we're not going to." I mean, it doesn't. There's clearly he doesn't know what the hell he's saying. He doesn't know.
If you get it, it's on you. We don't want you to get it, but if you want to go to a Smash Mouth concert, that's fine. You can do that.
Or the White House.
Or a Trump rally.
From the early days of coronavirus, medical experts and media outlets have been warning us about the danger, trying to explain how to protect oneself and keep one healthy using the most understandable of terms. It led to this segment on a Vox DC affiliate morning news show.
I'm really worried about this coronavirus. Now, it's okay, Dr. Pop. I did some research. Check it out. Now, I want to say what I have found. There's a little flex virus going through town. Teeny tiny like the sand in your hand, even smaller than a grain, making waves like a grand band. Boom. Hold on tight, listen to me. Prevention now is the key. Wash your hands thoroughly and sneeze in your sleeve respectfully. Because I don't want to get corona. I don't want to get it. Make sure do what doctors told ya. I'm gonna cough in the rack, not gonna sneeze in my hand. I won't touch my eyes, my ears, my nose with both of my hands. Wow, that was a lot of information. So let's recap. I should wash my hands thoroughly, cover my mouth when I sneeze or cough. I shouldn't touch my eyes, ears, or nose. And if I do feel sick, I should wear a mask. Dr. Pop, anything else? And of course, see my doctor. That's us.
Dr. Pop would be a better Surgeon General than the guy we currently have.
That was delightful. And yes, can we hire them?
I thought they were great. Keep in mind, I mean, at the time that they sung that, we didn't know what we know now about the value of masks for asymptomatic spread, and it was not it wasn't as all over the place as it is now.
And it was on a Fox affiliate. So of all the stuff on Fox for Trump not to watch, it's in DC. He can access it from his television set.
Right.
The efforts to control the spread of a highly contagious and deadly virus seem somewhat inconvenient for Donald Trump, who still insists on greeting large audiences on a sacrificial altar known as his rallies. This could explain him being confused about his opponent's socially distanced events, as we can see from this clip from one of his rallies.
You can't have political rallies. That's because of me. Because of Biden, we're here and about 3 people. Do you ever see him with his little circles, a circle? You know why he puts the circles? Because he wants to be correct with COVID, but it's not really. Because they can't get anybody to fill up a room, so they put these big circles. So he can't get anybody to fill. Nobody wants to go.
I'm pretty sure he was doing that whole circle thing, the motion with his hands, because he was trying to remind himself what a circle was. And they said, no one wants to come to his rally. It's like, no one wants to get sick and die. Maybe Joe Biden, maybe we have a guy running for president who doesn't want to kill his supporters.
We're trying to be responsible.
I do find it hugely ironic that it does feel like Trump is trying to kill off his own base. It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I don't know if that makes him a true believer or if that makes him just ultra in denial, but that is the most baffling part of me. I mean, at the very least, wait until after the election to kill him off.
Trump's return to the White House, just 3 days after his diagnosis, saw him posing for photographers and cameras on the Truman balcony, gasping and looking like a rotisserie chicken that's just been cooked in a nuclear fallout zone, looking like an old-school shrinky-dink that's been left in the oven overnight. Coincidentally, shrinky-dink is another one of Stormy Daniels' nicknames for Trump's penis. He released a series of videos on his Twitter feed, such as this one.
I took over a depleted military, old equipment, broken equipment. Even in the Army, all brand new uniforms with the belt. Everybody wanted the belt. We're taking care of our seniors. You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable, and so am I.
I like to speak like I'm an idiot, but I'm not an idiot, except you know what? I am. What was happening to his face? It looked like it was falling off. It used to be I'd have to pop in Raiders of the Lost Ark if I wanted to see a Nazi sympathizer's face melting. We can see the anti-mask sentiment and the carelessness of Trump seep through to his supporters, as we can see from this CNN clip, which left even Don Lemon speechless.
A day after the Woodward bombshells, the president held a rally in Michigan, no social distancing, few masks. Our Jim Acosta caught up with some of the attendees. Listen to this.
Why are you guys not wearing masks?
I have one with me. It's my prerogative.
But why not wear one to stay safe?
I have a hard time understanding people when they talk, so that's why I don't wear it.
But you can hear me right now?
I can hear you.
Sure. Why are you not wearing your mask?
Because there's no COVID. It's a fake pandemic created to destroy the United States of America.
But the president said to Bob Woodward that there is a virus, the coronavirus, and that it is deadly.
That's his opinion. The truth is that the CDC said there's only less than 10,000 people die from COVID. The other 190,000 have 2.6 or 2.8 other mortalities.
Does it worry you guys at all to be in this crowded space with all these?
I'm not afraid. The good Lord takes care of me. If I die, I die. We got to get this country moving. Can't. What are you going to do? Wear masks and stay inside for another year? Huh? Where will that get us?
Okay. I don't want to.
Oh, I wanna. And you know what? I think I will. It's baffling what these guys think. Oh, the good Lord will protect me. Well, if the good Lord will protect you, you should ask the good Lord to make you not so fucking stupid.
I will say, though, I want to point something out here that I think is interesting that a lot of people haven't taken into account. As a journalist, I think people often don't take into account how journalists put themselves into danger to do their jobs. We think about that when they go overseas to cover conflicts. But what was happening there? He was just in a very large crowd. And sure, he was wearing a mask. It looked like an N95. I'm not sure. But the point is, he was putting himself at risk to do that report. And I just want to point that out because I know reporters often get bad raps, and there's plenty of reporters who are crap. But most reporters, we go into this business because we really care about the truth and getting accurate information out to people and ensuring that they have the information they need to make decisions. And a lot of times that means doing things that put ourselves in danger. And I just want to point that out because a lot of people, I don't think that's been mentioned much during the pandemic.
Of course, when top figureheads of the government give an, at best, ambivalent view of wearing masks, it can lead to instances like this Instagram video that went viral, but not for the reasons the person filming it thinks.
I was put you on my 3,000 follower Instagram feed, mostly locals.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask
and I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
Have a great day.
So you're going to take this car from me.
Sir, have a great
Full
day.
of stuff.
You are no longer welcome here in our warehouse. You need to leave. Thank you very much.
Here, you put it on, I'll give you my card. He's going to take the card away because he's a There he is, walking away with all my stuff. There he goes. Because I'm not a sheep.
What do you want to bet that right after he posted that, he got 3,000 comments from all his followers saying, "You're a dick"?
I don't know. If they were following him, they probably thought, yeah, stick it to the libs. Let's die for them.
Let me ask three of you, how did Costco and Trader Joe become the battlegrounds?
They're private companies, like they can pretty much do whatever they want. So whenever someone goes in and says, oh, this is an infringement of my First Amendment rights, the First Amendment only apply if it's the government trying to stop you from doing something or saying you have to do something.
Correct.
So
it's not just Costco and Trader Joe, though. I've seen those videos from Walmart. I've seen them from Kroger. I've seen them from other grocery stores that I don't know the names of. I've seen them for little boutique stores that are just independent shops.
Chick-fil-A does that as well.
Yeah.
In fact, they make all their gay customers wear rainbow face masks so they know who not to serve. The first big rally since the coronavirus restrictions was in Tulsa, Oklahoma in June. Here's the rationale for holding such an epidemiologically uncontrolled event, as given by first daughter-in-law and family hostage, Lara Trump.
Look, it's time now because people, I think, are ready to get back to some normalcy in life. And more so than just a campaign rally, this kind of feels like the kickoff to sort of reopening the country. We chose Oklahoma because they were the first state in the country to lift their COVID restrictions.
Reopening the country and reopening field hospitals and ICUs and mass graves. I think people like, Donald Jr. and Lara, the campaign staffers send out is like, this idea is totally batshit crazy. Like, who are we going to get to do it? Oh, fuck it. We'll just send Lara out and it'll just make it easier on the rest of us.
But that goes to the attitude of the administration, which is people are sick of it, so it should be opened up. COVID's not over because of the calendar. COVID's not over because you want it to be over. It'll decide when it's over, when we've taken appropriate restrictions, appropriate measures. But the passage of time, and Tara can speak to this more eloquently than I can, the passage of time isn't going to take care of COVID as that genius claimed in the video.
No, that's exactly right. And that's one of the things I think is most fascinating about this is when you look at which countries are doing well. The countries that are doing well are Rwanda and Vietnam and Nigeria. It's the places that have dealt with serious infectious disease much more recently than we have, and they take it seriously. They know not to screw around with it, and they know, when the public health experts say XYZ, we do XYZ, and they're doing much better as a result. We in the United States, we haven't had to deal with this for over 50 years. There's a loss of sort of social memory as to what you need to do to protect yourself, and a loss of social memory of the devastation that it can cause. And so you've got people who they have this COVID fatigue and they're like, well, we're tired of it. And they don't seem to grasp that they don't get to decide that. The virus doesn't care if you're tired.
One of the attendees of Trump's rally in Tulsa was Herman Cain, who later caught COVID and was dead within weeks. Some people recognize him from his 2012 presidential campaign. Some people recognize him from being the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, his 999 tax plan. But I prefer to remember this clip from the 1990s, singing about his love of pizza to a very familiar tune.
Imagine there's no pizza. I couldn't if I tried. Eating only tacos or Kentucky Fried. Imagine only burgers is frightening and sad. You don't have to pick it up now. On my skateboard I will go. I'll be back in 30 minutes. I just bought Domino's. Oh,
what did I just hear? And how can I get those minutes of my life back?
Oh.
Oh, that was fantastic. I love a parody song. He did such a great job on that. I'm eating only tacos or fried Kentucky Fried. Imagine only burgers. Personally, I like to imagine that this is actually just a commentary on America's over-reliance on the meat industry.
I mean, he sings Imagine No More Pizza. I was a road comic and ate like one for 10 years. My colon and my asshole would be thrilled if I imagined there was no more pizza.
God, that's an image I didn't need.
The alternatives he gave you were tacos, burgers, and fried chicken. That's the lyrics of the song. Those are your only alternatives in this world.
People have always had cavalier attitudes towards their own health and well-being. A classic example is this restaurant catering to such clientele, as seen on this piece from ABC's Nightline.
In a country where calories are posted on the menu and the White House has a vegetable garden, sometimes the reality looks more like this. This monument to greasy gluttony is called the Heart Attack Grill.
PBR.
It's a sort of hospital-themed Hooters located in Chandler, Arizona, a suburb of Phoenix.
Get your arms in over here.
Every customer must wear a hospital gown.
I'm dying.
And they are waited on by scantily clad nurses. Still, it's what's on the menu that gets most of the attention. The single, double, triple, or quadruple bypass burger. Oh, and they do have fries called flatliner fries, fried in lard, and those are unlimited. To wash it all down, how about a butterfat shake? Anyone who is over 350 pounds doesn't have to pay.
I'm big, you know what I mean? And so why not?
Here you go.
Ernie Hart. Yes, that's his real last name. And yes, he is chowing down on a quadruple bypass.
Even though my cardiologist and my wife tell me not to come, and after surviving a coma and multiple heart surgeries, I still come. I enjoy the burgers.
I like to think that him clearing his throat was his way of fending off another heart attack. Oh, avoided another one.
It's got to be a uniquely American thing to embrace. Like that level of arrogance. I don't know how to process that. I don't know.
So I did a little digging on this. From what I understand, there is currently one in Las Vegas. And one of the things they're known for is the kitsch around the restaurant. So, Tom, I don't know if this will change your mind about wanting to go there, but at least according to one photograph, you can pee on Donald Trump's face at a urinal. So I don't know if that flips the script on this at all for you. Maybe becoming a fan. Now, I read a lot about it, actually. I got a little deep dive into the Heart Attack Grill. It is described as a place where you can get a 9,982 calorie burger served by a buxom waitress, listen to karaoke, and wash it back with a shot of liquor served in a prescription bottle. And only one of those four things is appealing to me. After I learned that they do serve wine in an IV bag with a thing that you can like carry around with you, I'm now planning my destination wedding there.
To be clear, Abby, is that for your wedding or for your bachelorette party?
I don't know, but I'm planning a trip there. 2022, I'm getting an IV drip bag, red wine.
On that note, that's our show. Please join me in thanking our panelists, Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, and our guest, Tara Haley. And before I go, I'll leave you with this thought. I, for one, have always been into keeping away from people and avoiding any place that could get me sick. I'm not a germaphobe, I'm a trendsetter. So please, stop telling me we're all in this together, because that's the last thing I want to do or hear, be together, when we're all supposed to be practicing social distancing. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers, with panelists Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello and guest Tara Haley. Theme music by Jeroen van den Hurk. Special thanks to Debbie Abrams-Kaplan, Robbie Goodwin, and Michelle Wojciechowski. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Hello, welcome to the Tom Myers versus the rest of the world election night special. At the time of recording, nearly 100 million people have already cast early ballots, and as this episode is airing, polls are already starting to close in some parts of the country. We may not know the result by the end of the night or even the end of the next major court battle, so if you're listening to this after election night, allow me to welcome you to Grand Theft Election 2020, a Tom Myers versus the rest of the world special. We have 232,000 people who have died from complications due to COVID-19, which makes Donald Trump and Mike Pence the first pro-life administration responsible for the deaths of 232,000 Americans not killed in military action. A bunch of boats waving Trump flags in Texas ended up sinking. I think it makes a great sequel to Jaws. It will be the first Jaws movie where I root for the shark. I, for one, don't mind all of the Trump 2020 flags. It lets me know which of my neighbors are douchebags. I've been saying for months that Joe Biden is the perfect Democrat to take on Donald Trump. This is because they are both so gaffe-prone that, during a debate, each one can recognize when the other is having a stroke. My environmental policy is different from the Green New Deal because I throw in the word malarkey a lot and name drop Barack Obama, and now I can't feel the right side of my body. If Joe Biden is not left-wing enough for you, you don't have that many options. There is the Republican-backed, by way of Russian intelligence agency's Green Party, with its presidential candidate, Howie Hawkins. Howie. Howie is not the name of a world leader. Howie is your neighbor's 9-year-old kid who tries to sell you $5 chocolate bars so his soccer team can go play in a tournament out of state. Would you like to buy a chocolate bar, Chancellor Merkel? I tried to write some jokes about the libertarians, but then I came to the conclusion that they should be able to write them without help from anyone else. On with the show. Please join me in welcoming our panelists, Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, and JJ Boyd.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
JJ, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, my friend. The commute from the couch was a killer, but I'm here.
So what are your thoughts on this election coming up? I presume you have some, otherwise you wouldn't have made such a long commute to be here.
Yeah. My thoughts are I've never in my life have felt such a division in this country. And I'm hoping, obviously I'm praying for a Democratic win, but whatever happens, I'm hoping that we can find a way to start working together. But that's like hoping Santa Claus brings you a Ferrari down the chimney. It's not going to happen. I don't see it, but that's a dream I have.
Abby, how about yourself?
Sorry, I'm terrified. I am very, very afraid. I'm very scared. That's how I feel.
That's literally the most rational thing I've heard this entire election season.
I refilled my Xanax prescription yesterday. That's how I feel.
Jeff, how about you?
I was thinking about it today. Nate Silver has Joe Biden with between an 88 and 90% chance. There's been no change in the polling toward Trump as opposed to 2016, when at this point there was a clear trend toward Trump. That's not happening. There are multiple paths for Joe to win tonight. There's one path for Trump tonight. COVID's getting worse, despite what Trump says, and the public knows that. Trump doesn't have a closing message other than to fire Fauci, who the public likes more than any of them. He's not luring undecideds. He's not luring lean Bidens to his camp. There's no Comey bombshell. There's poll after poll of good news. I've told you all that, and I'm petrified.
Well,
So,
you know what? I mean, it's, living in the age of the apocalypse, it's something new. We've been watching those movies for years, and now we're actually experiencing it.
The one good thing is that I've been working out harder, because the longer I spend working out, the less time I have to watch MSNBC and watch Twitter. So I spend more time exercising.
But what I've been doing, and I just did this tonight, before I started this, I went out grocery shopping. I picked up a lot of frozen dinners. I bought a lot of juice, soda, bottled water, snacks, stuff like that. So I'm ready to hunker down in case anything hits the fan. So basically, I'm just guns, ammo, and racist literature away from being in a militia.
It's funny with what Jeff said. I think what's terrifying is that the way this administration has stacked the cards against the Constitution, against the will of the people, against morality, is that, all these good signs you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I really believe that Biden will pull it off, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the Senate to be taken. That's my out, is that God forbid he loses the presidency, or we lose the presidency. If we can maintain the House and then take the Senate, that's, the Southern District of New York is just waiting with bated breath to get their hands on him. And if we can impeach him and remove him, and he's legally not the president, even if he sits there going, mine, the Southern District of New York they're ready to pounce on him. So that's in the wings also.
Joining us tonight to discuss the election, former Maryland Democratic Party Chair, Susan Turnbull.
Good to be with you, Tom, and everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the podcast, Susan.
Good to be with you.
Reason I brought you on tonight is because you've been involved in politics for a long time. I think when I first met you, you were the Maryland Democratic Party chair. You, I think, were vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, worked a lot on the Obama campaign. And most recently, you were the candidate for lieutenant governor in Maryland. So if there's anybody I wanted to have on an election night program, it's certainly you.
Well, thank you.
Your thoughts on this election?
Well, this is pretty different considering the fact that in years past, I'd be whoever the presidential candidate was, to be perfectly honest. In 2000, I was in Nashville, 2004, Boston, 2008, Chicago, and in 2016, New York. So for all of us who are longtime campaign folks, being home on a Zoom or multiple Zooms tonight with friends is a little different. And I think that that's what COVID does for you.
The most reliable group of voters has always been and will, for the time being, be seniors. Every so often, they can be talked into supporting a candidate who will, during a deadly pandemic, make them go against their own interests and literally congregate themselves into an early death. Here's Donald Trump speaking to a group of seniors in Fort Myers, Florida.
My message to America's seniors today is one of optimism, confidence, and hope. Your sacrifice has not been in vain. The light at the end of the tunnel is near. We are rounding the turn. I say that all the time. Some of the media doesn't like hearing it, but I say it all the time. We're rounding that turn.
Don't say light at the end of the tunnel when you're talking to a group of seniors.
Yeah, they'll walk into it. Unbelievable.
Dead man's turn.
That was inside. He didn't leave them stranded in the cold in that round.
Typically, Democratic candidates garner the lion's share of celebrity endorsements. There are some who will endorse a Republican candidate for office, as we can see from this clip of a cringeworthy rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner as performed at a Trump rally by Ted Nugent.
We will make America great again, and we will make Michigan great again. Won't we? Live it up. Have a great hunting season. Kill lots of shit.
Kill lots of shit is coincidentally Trump's immigration policy.
Was that song called Cat Scratch COVID?
Wow. That was wow.
That's really going to do very well with the senior vote, don't you think?
Well, I like how Ted Nugent talks to his audience like they're children, especially where he goes, "Won't we? Michigan's going to be great, won't it? Yes, it will."
Well, you know, Tommy has a long history of being very interested in underage people, so that doesn't surprise me.
That was just the most painful rendition of that. I mean, literally after the first 15 seconds, it was just like him thinking he was on stage at like Woodstock or something.
Well, no, the version at Woodstock was actually good.
Yeah. Well, he already had the brown acid. So
it's like I could imagine, like, even the most hardcore, red-blooded American who loves hearing the national anthem, even they would hear about 15 seconds of that and go, okay, that's enough.
Well, the funny thing is, again, playing trumpet and the youth activity is music. All you hear a lot of times from the extreme right is, just play the damn tune. Stop embellishing about that. I mean, that wasn't even that barely started out to be the Star Spangled Banner and ended up some kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan just did 3 triple somersaults in his grave over that. It was horrible.
If it's any consolation, I did have mercy on you guys and I edited that clip.
Oh, God bless your soul.
Never one to turn down a large audience in the midst of a growing health crisis, the likes we haven't seen in modern history, Donald Trump did an interview / telephone rally with Rush Limbaugh.
And greetings to you, music lovers, thrill seekers, and conversationalists all across the fruited plain. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program. Mr. President, it is a distinct honor and privilege to have you with us. And I want you to do something for me, sir.
Go ahead.
I want you to imagine you have just landed in a gleaming, majestic Air Force One to the largest radio rally in history. Instead of thousands cheering as you walk up to the stage, there are millions and millions of patriots out there right now anxiously awaiting to hear from you. No doubt they're waving Trump flags, wearing their bright red MAGA hats proudly. This, sir, is a mega MAGA rally, and we are all thrilled to be with you today. We are so glad you're doing better, and welcome to the EIB network.
Anyone else feel sick right now?
Well, I know some things about Rush Limbaugh's audience. I think a good chunk of them are the media watchdog types. So if he actually has those people in his rally, that might be the first Trump rally where a whole bunch of people will yell, "Fuck you!"
When he mentioned millions, are there really millions of people listening to his show?
I think he just wanted to say it like that because that's the way Trump says it. He's become so Trumpified, like millions and millions of people.
No, patriots. Millions and millions of patriots.
Oh,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
God forbid I get that term mixed up.
I also really enjoy the visual of millions of his supporters sitting around a radio waving flags and wearing MAGA hats as if he can see them.
But think of this, after tonight, this may be over.
Oh,
and they can just have each other.
For the first couple of nights, the Republican National Convention was held virtually. Once it was pulled from 2 sites, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Florida, local businesses bemoaned the loss of a potential money-making event. The only people celebrating those losses were the people who cleaned the rooms at Mar-a-Lago, as it meant no scrubbing sexually repressed sperm off the hotel room ceilings.
Oh.
A virtual convention can make for awkward moments, as we can see from this segment from campaign advisor and Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle.
President Trump believes in you. He emancipates and lifts you up to live your American dream. You are capable. You are qualified. You are powerful, and you have the ability to choose your life and determine your destiny.
That was this human voice equivalent of Ted Nugent's song.
Yeah, and that is her speaking into an empty room. I would hate to be in a bar where she's singing karaoke. Like she could make that Carpenter song sound nightmarish. Just like me, I long to be close to you.
Tom, it's not her fault. The person who typed up her speech on the teleprompter used all caps.
It's like an annoying Valerie Bertinelli.
By listening to Kimberly Guilfoyle's speech, we already know what it sounds like when Satan's demonic jizz scars one's vocal cords. Yet she might seem very steady compared to her boyfriend, the namesake of the current Oval Office occupant, as we can see from this segment on Fox.
There's literally zero evidence of that it's Russian disinformation. The director of national intelligence said it. And by the way, more importantly, the FBI said it. And I don't say that because I think the FBI has more credibility. I say that because it's pretty clear that the FBI has done whatever they possibly could to hurt Donald Trump. So if they're even coming out and saying this, meaning the upper levels of the FBI, the door kickers love us, not so much the bureaucrats at the top. But if even they're coming out and saying, yeah, there's absolutely no evidence, and that doesn't prevent Adam Schiff and MSDNC from being out there and peddling this thing as though it's real Russian disinformation.
What you don't hear after that is he shouts into the camera, "Now will you love me, Daddy? Now will you love me?" I mean, if Kimberly Guilfoyle is all caps, Donald Trump Jr. is basically if a run-on sentence was a person.
He's
I also was like, does he have the same stylist as Bill Belichick?
except he doesn't cut off his sleeves. You know, when I listen to him, all I can remember from my youth is his words basically are what would be in the word balloon above Hubert. All the ampersands and little nonsense, total gibberish and nonsense.
Things go on election night. Get ready for talk about him running for president in 4 years. So
the only thing I want to see him running is away from a Dodge Challenger running through a crowd.
Well, I was always confused between the two daughters-in-law, Lara and Vanessa. Vanessa was the one married to Don Jr., and since they've split up, I know now that Vanessa is the hostage who's escaped. I mean, Lara Trump's probably just happy to be, working on this campaign because it means she doesn't have to spend so much time with Eric.
Their stepmother, I'm thinking she probably negotiated another settlement prenup last week, which then allowed her to go out on the trail. Yeah. Think about it.
Wasn't the first, I didn't read the book, but the first prenup negotiation was over getting her son more rights to the family business, I believe, which I think is interesting. That she just wants to saddle him with bankruptcy.
As if he needs help.
As if that poor kid hasn't suffered enough.
Yep.
One of Donald Trump's lackeys in the United States Senate is Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader. As humorless and devoid of joy as one would be trying to take away health care from and deny COVID relief to Americans, he does attempt to let loose and have a laugh, as we can see from these clips.
I was shocked that former President Obama left so many vacancies and didn't try to fill those positions.
I'll tell you why. I was in charge of the of what we did the last 2 years of the Obama administration.
I will give you full credit for that. And by the way, take a bow. All right, that was a good line.
The House passed a bill in May, and the Senate went on vacation. I mean, you just don't do that. You negotiate. Senator, it is a national crisis.
Yeah. I think JJ, Jeff, and Abby can attest to this. Doesn't that sound like the soul laugh you hear at every single comedy open mic?
Oh, yeah. It's a cross between that and Jabba the Hutt.
That's the Booker's laugh when you're bombing, but he knows he still has to pay you, and he's like just trying to get the audience going.
I think it's more like the first thing you'd hear waking up in an abandoned warehouse after the chloroform is worn off.
He was so anxious to take credit for the ill that he did. Hannity wasn't even asking him a procedural question. And he said, no, I know why. Because I didn't let anybody vote. And so he wants the credit for his evil.
You're telling me he tried to outsleaze Sean Hannity and succeeded?
I think so.
That is the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Wow.
During the second and final debate, Donald Trump said he was the least racist person in the room. I'm still not sure what that sentence means. I think it means he's not racist because he has not used any of the racial slurs that he keeps tucked in a cavernous dungeon where, in most people's heads, a brain should be located. Aside from his father being arrested at a Klan rally, his family's organization being investigated by the Justice Department for denying housing to African Americans, insisting on the execution of the Central Park Five black defendants for a rape despite the fact they were proven innocent, starting his foray into politics by claiming he knew that Barack Obama wasn't born in this country, starting off his campaign calling Mexicans rapists, announcing a proposed Muslim ban, saying a judge shouldn't hear one of his lawsuits because he's Hispanic, enacting a Muslim ban, the Mexican and Central American migrant family separation policy, telling migrant families they have to wait in Mexico to claim asylum, trying to enact another Muslim ban after the courts ruled his first one unconstitutional, his statement that people waving swastika flags in Charlottesville were very fine people, referring to African and Caribbean countries as shitholes, retweeting a video where one of his supporters shouts white power, having staffers and high-ranking officials work for him enacting racist policies, telling the racist group Proud Boys to stand by. Donald Trump may very well have been the least racist person in the room. Of course, tone deafness is not just synonymous with Trump, but with a good chunk of the Republican Party, as we can see from this excerpt from a Trump rally in Macon, Georgia, featuring their United States Senator David Perdue.
But the most insidious thing that Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden are trying to perpetrate, and Bernie and Elizabeth and Kamala or Kamala, I don't know. Whatever. Now, guys, I'm just a dumb business guy from right over that hill right there.
I think the only way he could have redeemed himself would have been if he'd said, I gotta go, I think I'm having an aneurysm.
That's his colleague. He knows her name.
I mean, he's also the guy who added a bigger nose to his opponent and another racist Trump.
Oh, right, yeah. Isn't he the guy that also ran away from the last debate they were supposed to have?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real leader. He's learned a lot from Donald Trump.
What's scary is I've done comedy in Macon, Georgia for the last 18 years. It's just frightening. The thought of actually going back there now, it's like, ugh.
I just think there's a lot of irony in him making fun of her name when the person he replaced was named Zaxby Chambliss.
Yeah.
Zaxby Chambliss.
Unbelievable.
Of course, the ability to exploit white voters' fears of losing what they feel is a tight grasp on the form of the country they have known for years but does not exist anymore leads some Republican candidates to appeal to those concerns in campaign ads, as we can see in these TV spots from Kansas Republican Senate candidate Bob Hamilton.
Bob Hamilton, not a career politician.
Crazy idea. Stop borrowing money from China to pay for illegals from Mexico. Career politicians let China kill our jobs. And now, China's killing our people.
Conservative Bob Hamilton.
The media calls that racist. I call it the truth.
Yeah, I think they use buzzwords like conservative businessman because you're not allowed to say fucking asshole on a primetime campaign ad.
Well, what you're not aware of was this is the entire third act that they cut out from the show on Broadway, Hamilton. So
Now, he may lose tonight to a female legislator.
I think
he may lose his seat.
I think he's already lost his primary, from what I understand.
I don't know.
Definitely lost his marbles.
Even if he wins, he's still losing.
No, it's the other racist idiot in who lost that primary. It's not him.
It's so hard to keep them on the track, you know?
Yeah, it's not. No, it's the other one.
Who
looks probably just like him.
They don't think it's 2020. They think it's 1920, just after another pandemic. I mean, that's really when they think America was great, back when everybody was dying.
And women were just housewives.
The desire to play on angry white voters is not a new phenomenon, as we can see in this 2010 ad emphasizing an English-only platform from Alabama Republican gubernatorial candidate Tim James.
I'm Tim James. Why do our politicians make us give driver's license exams in 12 languages? This is Alabama. We speak English. If you want to live here, learn it. We're only giving that test in English if I'm governor. Maybe it's the businessman in me, but we'll save money. And it makes sense. Does it to you?
Someone should have told him that you don't have to take all 12 versions of the exam. You know, you can just take the one.
I can't keep cheating off the guy next to me 12 different times.
Maybe that's why he looks down reflexively in this ad before he says, does it to you? You know, he's waiting for someone to smack him upside the head.
Does he think stop is in different languages too?
You know what? He should be the governor of Hawaii because aloha means like so many different things. You know, it's conservative. This way you look. If that's what you're concerned about, one word does 12 things. Next.
I voted absentee for the first time this year. I miss going to my local polling place. I don't care about the candidates or the issues. I just like that it's the one day of the year where I can go to my local high school and not look like a creep. When I dropped my ballot off at my county board of elections office, everyone applauded. It made me feel good about myself because it was a life-affirming moment, as it was an applause larger and louder than any I'd ever received at a comedy open mic. Now I've come to the conclusion that I like the idea of taking my vote to the local board of elections, as I no longer have to listen to some redneck interrupt his chewing tobacco break, tell me about some fuckwit for whom I never planned to vote in the first place. Of course, sending your ballot through the mail has its challenges, as we can see from this CBS News clip.
If you know how to mail a letter, you already know how to mail in your vote.
How you doing? Good, thanks. Thank you very much.
But how long might it take for that vote to actually arrive and be counted?
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
We decided to test it, sending 100 mock ballots simulating 100 voters from locations all across Philadelphia to a P.O. box we set up to represent a local election office. In the following week, we checked our P.O. box for the results.
Mail pickup notice, there's more.
When we went to collect everything, though,
Nothing?
most of our votes seemed to be lost.
That's all I have back there right now. That's not
You're sure? You're totally sure? I believe you.
All right, then. Have a good day.
Okay, take care.
We had to ask for a manager
We're trying to do something about mail-in ballots.
and explain ourselves before someone finally found our votes.
They have me somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
1, 2. We soon discovered another problem: missorted mail. 2 pieces of it.
We got a birthday card from Mike to Ronnie. Have a sweet B-day. Get it? There's a B on top.
The future of voting in this country, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I know that wasn't a real polling place. That was done as just a test, and presumably actual ballots would be marked with the official ballot envelope.
Right.
But still, I mean, I just find that absolutely disturbing.
Well, I think that's why you're seeing such long lines. Is I think that this whole thing backfired in a good way for the Democrats. Is that they, he made it such a deal about, and then you put that idiot in charge of the postal service who shouldn't have been there. They closed down the sorting machines, so everybody's like, okay, fine, I'll just go and vote in person. So it, that whole scare tactic, while obviously it's working because it's not working, the post office, it just means more people are showing up in person.
If you prevent someone from wanting to do something, they'll work that much harder to do it. And I think
Right.
voting is key. I hate how condescending that news clip is. If you know how to mail a letter, then you know how to mail a ballot. Of course I know how to mail a letter. I'm 75 years old.
We're the only people who know how to mail letters. There's people over 65.
I forgot why I came in the room just now, but I know how to mail a letter.
I might have to go pee while I do it, but.
And on that note, that's our show. Please join me in thanking our guests, Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, JJ Boyd, and Susan Turnbull. And before I go, a final thought. I know there's a good chance that Donald Trump may win re-election. I'm expecting it so much that if he loses, I will feel grateful. About as grateful as when I order fries from Burger King and they throw in an onion ring by mistake. You didn't order any onion rings. Hell, you may not even like them. But seeing that one solitary onion ring makes you feel ecstatic and gives you hope. Anyway, thank you for tuning into what may be the last episode of this podcast before Donald Trump decides to shut down all internet access and thus all podcasts in what will become known as the Great Trumper Tantrum of 2020. Goodbye. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, and JJ Boyd, and guest Susan Turnbull. Theme music by Jeroen van den Hurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Hello, welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. Well, Donald Trump was right about one thing. Once election night was over, on November 4th, the main topic of the news stations wasn't COVID. Donald Trump may go to his grave saying he was robbed of a second term. Let's hope it's tomorrow. It's an amazing self-own for Republicans to claim fraud in a vote counting system set up by state legislatures that their party controls. Look at this instance of voter fraud that we inadvertently helped to create. The task of telling Trump he might have to concede fell to his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. How did he get the short straw? Was it preceded by Ivanka saying, "Honey, do you want to get laid tonight? Okay, well, I need you to do something for me first." Because of the abundance of voter fraud complaints, we now know that Donald is the male equivalent of the name Karen. Mitch McConnell not only handily won re-election to his Senate seat, but he may also retain his title as Senate Majority Leader. Much like the popular caricature, Mitch McConnell is like a tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. Only in this instance, slow refers to the pace his comprehending the needs of this country up to the late 1990s, and steady refers to his bowel movements. Trump supporters are leaving Facebook and Twitter because they're tired of their posts being fact-checked. So they're moving to a new app called Parler, spelled P-A-R-L-E-R. It's the perfect place for Trumpsters, an app with the name of a word that's misspelled. And if you have any complaints about that joke, you can reach out to me on my Parler account.
Oh, no.
Hot Dad Bod XXX36. That's right, Dan Bongino. You thought you could block me on Twitter, but I'm back, fucker! On that note, on with the show. Please join me in welcoming our panelists, Jeff Hyson, and award-winning writer, comedian, editor, and humorist, Michelle Wojciechowski.
Hey, thanks.
Everybody.
Good to be here.
Jeff, how did you fare during this election and the results?
From Tuesday at 10 o'clock, when my wife was ready to jump out the window, until Saturday, it was nothing but tension. And then after Saturday, I'm sure I'm not the only one here who felt a great relief, the weight of the world, and 4 years of aggravation, and what my people say, solace, was lifted, and maybe it was temporary, but it felt wonderful. So nothing but jubilation, and I'm not going to let the MF get me down for all his childish protestations since then.
Michelle, how about yourself? First off, welcome to the show. Pleasure having you here.
Thanks. Well, let's see. My husband and I decided we were not watching the news or keeping up on the tallies all day on Tuesday because I knew that there's not enough antacid in the world to get me through. So we checked in that night. We really didn't. I mean, there was a little bit of hope that Biden would have a landslide. And we talked about what we do if he were declared the winner that night. But it's kind of like how you hope you win the lottery and you talk about all the stuff you do with it. And then the rest of the week, you know, it was so difficult to focus. I was trying to keep up, even when I wasn't necessarily looking at different, you know, news-related things. I just felt like I was in a fog. And then Saturday, of course, I figure they're not going to give us the results on a Saturday. Why would they give us the results on a Saturday? And so we were out raking leaves and bagging them for a local farmer to use as mulch because this is how exciting our lives are. And that's when we found out a friend of ours was with us and got a text. And all it said was, woohoo. And I said, woohoo. And we immediately started looking on our phones to see, because obviously if it's a woohoo, it's just a couple things, you know, either Trump moved out of the country, which didn't happen, or Biden had been declared the president-elect. So, and then ever since then, oh my gosh, I was so happy on Saturday, and watching Biden and Kamala Harris speak, I'll admit, I cried, you know, at different parts because of the relief. I think 4 years of feeling like I was tense. I hadn't realized how tense I had been during 4 years until I found out we have hope, we have a new president, and it was like, so that's how I've been.
I think there was a lot of tension, like in between like Tuesday night and when the race was called, and the various news networks, they were basically just repeating everything over and over again. So the solution I had to that would be everybody's upset that the Charlie Brown Christmas special is not airing on TV. Just air that over and over again on a repetitive loop, and then just go ahead and dub in the occasional result. Christmas time is here. This result just coming in. Trump wins Ohio. Everybody wins.
That is messed up and hilarious. I would totally watch that.
I found it interesting that Nebraska's 2nd congressional district voted for Joe Biden because they split their electors in that state. So that Biden gets 1 electoral vote that goes towards his total. That's, of course, after Trump holds the rally where several attendees were stranded in near freezing weather waiting for a bus. Turns out if you freeze a bunch of your supporters to chase 1 electoral vote, then that vote goes to your opponent.
Right.
Figure. Anyway, let's process what may be happening. A man whose family used to deny housing to Black potential tenants is, ironically enough, now being evicted out of government housing by non-white voters. This is an historic election in that a country that is on the cusp of kicking out an authoritarian will still end up being ridiculed by every Western democracy on the planet. In fact, the only way this election could have been more symbolic would be if during one of his rallies, Trump was shat upon by a bald eagle. Joining us tonight to discuss Trump, the election, and all things election results related, retired educator and therapist Lucy Strassbaugh.
Howdy. Hello. Thank you so much for asking me to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I want to ditto what the 2 speakers have just said, everything in spades about what they went through in the last 4 years and in the last week. And because of I see myself as the elder in this grouping here, I can share a perspective that y'all can't simply because you didn't live through it, as far as I can tell. I knew enough not to be freaked out on Wednesday morning by the high Trump numbers because I knew that they were the ones who voted in person and those would be the high numbers. But even with that caution in my mind, I couldn't help where my feelings went. And I was upset, I was scared, and it felt exactly, I have not been that traumatized by a real life governmental situation since 1962 and the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was 12 and we all went to bed that night thinking, well, we could be vaporized before morning. I mean, it was really an extremely traumatic, scary 24 to 48 hours. And that's where my head was Wednesday morning. The thought of 4 more years was unthinkable as nuclear annihilation. So of course, on Saturday, I was ecstatic. I just allowed that because talk about tension. I mean, my shoulders have been up around my ears for 4 solid years now. And I knew that it was going to be a really rough and scary 2 months, but I let myself celebrate on Saturday. And that's not typical for me. We needed it. We needed it so bad. So.
And your perspective as a therapist.
I have to give a trigger warning before I speak on this.
Well,
because I don't want to terrify people, but it's terrifying. It really is.
You're on the right show for that.
Okay.
For terrifying people.
You've been forewarned. Psychiatrists and psychologists much more advanced than myself have literally written the book on Trump's disorder. It is, he's a malignant narcissist sociopath, and there's nothing scarier than that. And the typical thing that you see with narcissists that we've all observed in the last 4 years is, and this was what started his presidency, he couldn't take a damn joke from Obama 4 or 5 years ago at that White House Correspondents' Dinner. Obama humiliated him. Well, it's like, F you world, I'm going to show you. And that's simply what he has proceeded to do in the last 4 years. Undo every single thing that Obama did. Narcissistic injury equals irrational, total narcissistic rage. Well, now, because I did read the book that his niece wrote, The Psychologist, and I highly recommend it. Can't think of the title. Wait a minute. Not enough, too much or not enough.
Too much and never enough, something like that.
Never enough, yeah. She beautifully laid out how his father, who was clearly another sociopath, I hate that I'm going to say this, but poor Donald Trump, all right, he didn't have a chance at being a human being. He literally did not have a chance. And he's not a human being. He's an empty void, and he's a scary monster, all right? So now that the thing that his father raised him never to be, which was a loser, being a loser feels like annihilation to Donald Trump, all right? Psychic annihilation. All I'm praying for these days is that there are some ethical people in the military around him who will never let him get near any nuclear codes. Because the mental state of Donald Trump right now is the state of those psycho men who, when their wives finally leave the abusive relationship, they kill the wife and the children because they can't have them. And I can see that is a clear and present danger for our nation right now. And I hope they have fake codes in the football that gets carried around near him, because he cannot be trusted with them. What he is suffering now is near unendurable to him. All right. So.
Well, I'm glad I came on this. If you want to look for me for the rest of the day, I'll be holding a teddy bear and lying in bed. Sorry.
I know. I know.
This election was certainly like no other in more ways than one. Media outlets often struggle to figure out how to cover the campaign as well as the subsequent election results, as we can see from this post on the Washington Post's Facebook page. Drama on the set and behind the scenes at the White House as the president's favorite network made some bold and unexpected calls. I mean, that Facebook status to me reads like the plotline of an episode of The West Wing, where the outgoing administration is Mama June, Honey Boo Boo, Ted Nugent, Chuck Norris, and the Robertson family from Duck Dynasty.
And you still have Fox people who are complaining about it to this day, when their independent decision desk made that call. And a real hero, not in a big capital H sense of the word, but is Arnon Mishkin, who's the head of the Fox decision desk, because he's the one who made that Arizona call. And MSNBC and CNN didn't make it. And he was ridiculed by Republicans, the White House. Kushner called up Murdoch, and he stood by his story. And I'm hoping for many reasons that Arizona stays in the Dem column, so Arnon Mishkin can give a big ha-ha and say I was right to everybody at Fox.
At the top of the list of complaints Trump has is that his favorite network, Fox, did not call certain states the way he felt they should have been called. For their part, Fox did try to give Trump the verbal reach around to compensate for the live electoral screwing, as we can see from these segments.
The Fox News decision desk is calling Arizona for Joe Biden. That is a big get for the Biden campaign. But Biden picking up Arizona changes the math, and it is the first of the night that goes into the column of somebody else's bucket that they thought last time was going to hold on to Arizona. There was a lot of effort spent by the Trump campaign to get to Arizona, to play there, to have ads there. And we are calling now the former vice president. If you look at the race to 270 electoral votes, Joe Biden is ticking closer at 218 to 148.
The Fox News decision desk can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden will win Pennsylvania and Nevada, putting him over the 270 electoral votes he needs
to become the 46th president of the United States.
Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, who stated in this process, "I will never give up fighting for you and our nation," will be denied a second term. Keep in mind, the Trump campaign is in the midst of waging legal challenges in several states, but the path is clear for the new president-elect.
The states will all need to officially certify the vote in the middle of a pandemic.
The way they declare Biden the winner 1 second and try to placate Trump the next make me think that they have the same fear that journalists in authoritarian countries have, where they sound like they're afraid their families might be kidnapped if they keep reporting what they're reporting.
Yeah, the game's over, but we're letting you know that the coach threw a flag, so it still might be overturned. So don't worry. Meanwhile, there was no music there. The blonde journalist, for those of you not watching this, I just did air quotes around journalist, immediately started with the qualifications. And the other guy kept, as Tom said, trying to send the right message, capital R right, to the White House and the Trump supporters.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's a subdued relief that, come January 20th, the overlord to whom they're answering won't be coming from the White House and won't have access to nuclear codes.
Let's hope.
I'll be relieved.
Yeah. But I've read that Rupert Murdoch is behind the scenes really trying to keep Fox out of all of the whatever Trump's doing with his incompetent lawyers. So they're feeling it from opposite directions.
One of Trump's rare moments where it looked like he knew his campaign was doomed appears in this clip of one of his rallies introducing one of his few quote-unquote celebrity endorsements, the rapper Lil Pump.
And speaking of sound, music, and other things, one of the big superstars of the world, Lil Pimp.
Oh, God.
There he is. How's it going? You want to come up and say something? Come on. Lil Pump. Come on. Come on up here. Come on up here. Does everyone know who he is? You know how big he is? Come on up here.
MAGA 2020. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. And do not vote for Sleepy Joe at all.
That's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's very nice.
I mean, toward the end of his campaign, Trump basically got to the point where he was about ready to say, "Hey, everyone, here's some fucker who does rap."
Well, and he is familiar with pimps. So
Yes.
and the other thing, what was that? Trump in 2020. Did he get stuck? Did the record stick? What was going on?
He was scratching.
Yeah, exactly.
Among those leading the charges of voter fraud is Donald Trump, not the president. I'm talking about Donald Trump Jr. demanding TV time once the vote counting process got underway. Here he is redressing his grievances on a right-wing TV network in front of supporters.
I've lost all faith in the process. And when I see millions of Americans that feel the same way and have no faith in the process, just assume that, hey, guess what? Those ballots are going to magically show up. Just like they did, right? You saw that line on the curve up north? 100% of votes. I went to sleep. I woke up 2 hours later after not sleeping for 3 days. I said, that's amazing, 130,000 votes. Not one of them for Donald Trump. No one believes that this is real. And for us to have faith in the Republic, we need transparency in the process. And so what I can promise you this is, everyone knows it, Donald Trump is a fighter.
Guy who has everything handed to him by daddy complains about being treated unfairly, thus demonstrating why people think he's a dick.
Tom, I have to tell you, I never watch Fox. I never watch the rallies. I never look at these people. I'm triggered. It's horrible. This is horrifying.
Lucy's calling her therapist.
Ugh, it's horrifying.
How else do you explain my Facebook posts and my tweets and everything?
I got it.
Right.
I got it now.
Trump's electoral loss brought out the Hall of Fame of washed-up conservative voices like former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, as seen in this cell phone video.
I ask, oh God, that you would take your iron rod and I ask that you would smash the clay jar of deceit in America. Smash the clay jar of delusion in the United States of America. Smash the delusion, Father, of Joe Biden as our president. He is not. Would you take your iron rod and smash the strong delusion that Nancy Pelosi does have her House of Representatives? We don't know that. Smash it in Jesus' name. Smash, Lord, the takeover of the U.S. Senate by Chuck Schumer. Lord, smash it with your iron rod.
She left Congress to make videos like that.
God help us.
I wish that Fred Trump took his iron rod elsewhere.
And here's the thing. She used to raise foster kids. Like if you're,
oh my God!
Well, remember, Tom, what her husband did.
What?
He was the gay conversion guy.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, but just imagine, you know, if you're a kid, you're waiting to be adopted, and Michelle Bachmann comes in, I would be like, no, nah, I'm good. No.
Well, for sure, that's a Christian adoption agency, and I don't mean Christian in the right sense of the word. Ugh.
I'd just be like, nope, my dad's in prison, my mom's a meth head and a prostitute, I don't have a bed, so I sleep in a cardboard box, but nope, I'm good, I'm fine. In 2017, Michelle Bachmann said she considered running for the U.S. Senate seat in Minnesota, but was awaiting God's counsel before making her decision. She hasn't yet officially made up her mind, as God still hasn't stopped laughing his ass off at the idea. Donald Trump sent his longtime friend, Rudy Giuliani, to Philadelphia to hold a news conference about the alleged voter fraud claims. During his campaign, Trump said, "Bad things happen in Philadelphia." Indeed, by sending Rudy Giuliani, he reminded us that even worse things happen in hotel rooms booked by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Good one.
I was going to try and show the clip of Rudy Giuliani's news conference in Philadelphia where he alleges the ballot fraud, but I would have to edit so much misinformation out of the video that I would be left with a noun, a verb, and a plug for his favorite local small business-owned sex shop. Instead, I'll give you this memorable moment from a charity event in 2000.
You know, you're really beautiful. I mean, it looks like that. Oh, have her own special scent.
Oh, thank you. Maybe you could tell me what you think of this scent.
I like that.
This may be the best of all. Oh, you dirty boy, you. Oh. Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.
You can't say I didn't try.
You know, once you motorboat a New York City mayor in drag, even, you know, if you're Donald Trump, you'd feel like a dick if you didn't, you know, have him help you try to gaslight the country.
Lucy, I think we're all going to need to get sessions with you after watching that.
There's no word for how appalled I am at just the utter sleaziness of these people. Pure sleaze.
I mean, this was back before Trump dipped his foot into the pool of politics. So I'm pretty sure this is done as kind of an entertainment type thing. But I mean, you know, even so, it does put it in a nefarious life given what's happening now.
And you also need to watch when you use the phrase that Trump is dipping his anything into anyone. We're all done with that.
I specified the right body part.
Yes, you did.
Once in a while, an individual will step forward and provide some clarity in their concern for the electoral process, as we can see from this clip of a Trump supporter interrupting a news conference in Las Vegas by the director of the Clark County, Nevada Board of Elections.
Family stealing the election. The media's covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering it up. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden.
I mean, who says a political analyst can't wear a T-shirt that says barbecue, beer, and freedom?
They just gave that guy a primetime slot on OANN.
I like how he just, walked away calmly at the end of it. He just went completely ape shit and then just was like, okay, I'm done. And then just walked away.
And then the guy didn't miss a beat who was making the announcement, and he just went back, acted like nothing had happened. He should get a speaker's contract, because if that kind of stuff doesn't throw you, pretty much nothing will.
Well, the thing that kind of, it didn't surprise me, but I've been to Las Vegas, and the thing I don't find surprising is the fact that there was someone standing there just holding a tape recorder. He didn't even look up from the tape recorder. It's like, yeah, he probably does that at every single news conference. And he just happened to be there that day. If anything, it would be karma if he was the kind of guy who, drinks his coffee from a cup that said liberal tears. Of course, some candidates took losing in the spirit of fun and light entertainment, as we can see from this amazingly lack of professional quality footage of a concession from Republican congressional candidate from Baltimore, Kim Klacik.
Oh.
Thank you guys very much. We have a lot of super volunteers here that's been here since day one.
Austin!
Hey there! Yes. Please raise your hands. All our super volunteers, please raise your hands. Thank you. You guys have been kicking butt for so long. And I think because of you, we're going to Capitol Hill. Yes, we are. Oh yes, oh yes, and the bus is big enough to do that. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to Big and Rich.
Okay, should we celebrate a little bit?
I think so, Brother John.
It's election night. Let's turn it on one time. I said 1, 2, 3.
$5 million spent on her campaign, and she records her own election night speech on a video camera that she got from the restocking shelf at Walmart.
And she's protesting the results.
Yeah.
She sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah.
Well, Jeff, we've all performed in rooms with bad sound systems. That's actually, the sad part is that's actually a fairly decent sound system she was using.
Yeah.
For me, and I know this isn't comedy right now, what I'm going to say, but
that's all right. I've been doing that the whole podcast, Lucy.
Yeah, really. The disconnect between the rising death rates and all of this Trump BS is so disturbing. It is cognitive dissonance on a level that I didn't think humans were able to maintain. How we could have all of his nonsense and lies and crapola going on while, we're looking at 1,000 deaths minimum in this country every single day. It's insanity. We have gone as crazy as he. The impact of a mentally ill leader is massive on the psyches of the population they are subjected to.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, that's our show. Please.
Sorry.
A big thanks to Jeff Heisen, Michelle Wojciechowski, and Lucy Stressball.
Don't run into traffic, folks, after that.
Thank you.
And before we go, my final thought. As the results of this election remain perfectly clear, the revolution will not be televised, as it will be preempted by what's left of the COVID-19 ravaged National Football League's remaining days of what we used to call a football season. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers, with panelists Jeff Heisen and Michelle Wojciechowski, and guests Lucy Strasball. Special thanks to Ken Water. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenhurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Hello! Welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. As the transition to a Biden administration is postponed and efforts are made to deny the election results, it's apparent that Donald Trump believes he has served up his vision of this country to Americans like he's serving up a big bowl of mashed potatoes. And all the Biden voters, 79 million Americans, have put their dicks in it. I would imagine Donald Trump is furious at his campaign advisors for losing this election, at which point his campaign advisors will tell him, "But Donald, we didn't want you to panic. We just like playing it down. We always played it down." There is hope for Trump's chances of victory. If you count only the votes in states where someone has threatened to throw a tall boy bar table at my head while I was on stage, then Donald Trump wins the Electoral College unanimously. It looks like Trump will retire like most aging white New Yorkers, move to Florida, play golf, and bitch about non-whites, the ones who don't change his linens. The Republican Party is so far gone from its days when it could call itself the Party of Lincoln. The only way they could accurately use the term 77 years ago is when they answer the question, when was the last time anyone in your family shook hands with a black person? Joe Biden won Georgia and now gets an additional 16 electoral votes. It's comforting that Charlie Daniels is not around, so we don't get the lyrics, "Joe Biden went down to Georgia. He was looking for a vote to steal." Amy Coney Barrett has already heard a few cases as a Supreme Court justice. Now is her biggest challenge. It wasn't her confirmation. It's now that she's on the court and she has to stop Brett Kavanaugh from trying to fuck her. Supposedly, there is a group of pro-Trump truck drivers who are planning to go on strike. Good. No trucks splashing water, mud, and other debris on my vehicle, and, as a bonus, no truck stop waitresses being groped or sexually assaulted. In Baltimore, a smell emanating from a clothing donation bin was revealed to be a dead body. It's nice to see my fellow Marylanders give us a preview of our return to post-COVID normalcy. And now, on with the show. Please welcome our panelists, Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello.
Hi, nice to be here.
Hello.
Abby, missed you last week.
Yeah, glad to be back.
I know you talked about taking Xanax to deal with the election, and being from Baltimore, we just thought you overdosed on it.
Hey, it is prescribed to me for insomnia. Yeah, no, it has been. I would be lying if I said that anxiety is at 4 a.m. I don't know. What's your 4 a.m. like, everybody else? Because mine is either like, remember that girl that bullied you in junior high, or it's like, hey, you forgot to put the laundry in the dryer. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That's helpful. It's never, I don't know. 4 a.m. in my brain is a strange time.
My 4 a.m. is sending a tweet and then thinking this will probably get me suspended for a few days, but fuck it.
Wow, you're active in the morning. I'm just in my own brain trying to fall back asleep.
You're both young. I'm over 60. My 4 a.m. is a trip to the bathroom.
I thought you were just going to say that's when you actually get up.
I'm pretty sure most comics' 4 a.m.'s trip to the bathroom are just as exciting, if not more so. Some might even involve an ambulance.
That's right.
Jeff, what have you been up to this week?
Trying to avoid keeping up with Trump's tantrums and his whining and his frivolous lawsuits, because doing that, paying attention to that gives them credence. And we should be looking forward to the promise of the new administration at noon on January 20th. And a new cabinet, and not his golfing and his refusing to leave office. So I'm trying to avoid thinking about that.
I mean, it's frightening, the fact that Donald Trump is firing everybody. So he's putting all these active heads in charge of the government, and they're only going to be there for 2 months or so. The last thing you want to hear if there's some major crisis, you hear the agency head go, "Well, I don't know how to fix this. I'm a temp. Yeah. I'm just doing this because COVID shut down all my band's gigs, man." Anyway, please join me in welcoming our guest, Shireen Kassam.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show, Shireen.
Thank you.
How's your observations of this election been?
It's been different because I didn't realize how many racists lived in my neighborhood until this election happened. I mean, when they put the signs out, I was like, oh, but then when they started putting the flags out, I was like, okay, we shouldn't go for a walk anymore.
I mean, it's amazing, all the flags, you would have, because I remember like the same, neighbors I have, like they would complain about people, driving down the street with rap music blaring from their stereos at 10, 11 o'clock at night. They're now flying flags that say no more bullshit and fuck your feelings. Like that somehow doesn't violate the neighborhood association.
Yeah, the HOAs. I said the same thing. Well, it's funny because my neighbor has the no more bullshit sign. So my dad was like, "Oh, well, you're safe. You have a Democrat next door, so nobody's going to harm you." And I was like, "Dad, you're not understanding the sign."
How far are you? You say you're in Orlando. How far are you from the tourists?
About 10 minutes.
Do they drive by this, or is that a different part of the city?
They don't drive by this, but when the election was happening, like that weekend, on all the major street corners, especially the tourist street corners, there were Trump supporters with their flags and their bullhorns screaming. It was funny, they were screaming blacks for Trump, but there was no black people on the street corner. But they had signs that said blacks for Trump and Latinos for Trump. They just couldn't find those people.
Zero was the number.
But they do exist. I mean, they're there. But yeah, it's been interesting, the election. Just the whole idea of, my parents came here from Africa. My parents came in the 70s when Idi Amin, the dictator, was in Uganda and made all the Asian people flee and within 24 hours. And we came to America, and now it's funny because we came here for democracy, and now we're having like the same issue here, right? It's like violence and people protesting, and it's out of control, and you're just thinking, why did we come here?
And you're in Florida, so the big difference is you guys make the bang bus videos. But your governor is Ron DeSantis, right?
Yes, he's so far up Trump's asshole. I've never seen him before.
Well, when I think of Ron DeSantis, it's like, have you ever done the thing where you take a marshmallow peep and you put it in the microwave and watch him blow up?
Yep.
See, Ron DeSantis to me looks like you take the peep, you put it in the microwave, and then you just leave the microwave on while you go off and run an errand.
Yeah, pretty much. That's probably why he doesn't believe that COVID exists.
And why, your state's leaders are pretty much the personification of every single Florida man headline. They thought, okay, we'll be in charge of not doing anything about this health scourge.
Didn't he tell order the schools to open?
Yes.
Ordered them to open, removing any local authority over schools. And I think he told the health official not to count COVID. Is something like that? Do I have that right?
I'm not sure about the second one, but he definitely asked to open schools. And he moved us into phase 3 real quick. Like he mandated we don't have to wear masks anymore, but I'm not sure. He probably said not to count either. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, because they did interview someone. It was some state official who was fired.
Oh, yes.
She was still using the data that she was getting.
You're right.
To go ahead and keep on the COVID statistics.
Yeah.
And you'd think he'd want he's more taking care of Trump than he's thinking about all the people who won't go to Florida because they're afraid of COVID based on the lack of restrictions.
No, he knows that there's, however many million people in this country that are absolutely going to go to Florida knowing that they can run around maskless and do whatever they want because they don't believe in it.
Well, plus Trump is one of DeSantis's voters now. I mean,
that's true.
I mean,
Florida's
talk about the biggest pain in the ass constituent ever.
But yeah, if you came to Florida, you wouldn't even know COVID. We had COVID here. The restaurants are packed. The bars are packed. People don't wear their masks. There's no nobody, not even from the beginning, there was no enforcement on a mask. So I know in some cities you guys had security guards saying you can't come in without a mask. We don't have that here.
You make me feel very good about my decision, Shireen. My brother and I inherited a house in Boynton Beach, and we fled in mid-March when this hits, and we would have been back a few times by now. And I love going for spring training, but I have no intention, neither does my brother, of going back to Florida because of what you're saying. So we sold the house. So you're making me feel very good about this.
Anyway, this will be the last show that's sponsored by the Florida Board of Tourism. So while I go off and look for more sponsors, we'll go ahead and move on. There's no chance that Donald Trump will ever admit defeat in the 2020 election. In fact, he's so desperate he wants every voter in the country to write him a letter letting him know how they voted. There's no word on whether he wants it delivered through Louis DeJoy's United States Postal Service or carrier pigeon, the latter of which would likely be quicker thanks to Louis DeJoy. In fact, an improvement in the Postal Service would be appointing Newman from Seinfeld as Postmaster General. I would send Trump something letting him know how I voted, but the Secret Service would stop me before I lit the bag of dog shit on the North Portico. Here is Trump redressing his grievance via phone that the hate fuck of information networks, Fox, airs rallies where his domestic arch nemesis and predecessor, Barack Obama, is addressing the crowd.
And some have said that Barack Obama's come out to be the bad cop, to go after you. One of the things he said last night was he's going around spreading COVID like he's a carrier because he cares more about having these big crowds than he does keeping people safe. Do you want to respond to the former president?
Well, fortunately, he's drawing flies. He's not getting anybody to go listen to him too much. Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody else, which is sort of shocking to me because Fox has changed a lot. And somebody said, what's the biggest difference between this and 4 years ago? And I say Fox. It's much different. You still have great people. But you're three of them.
But you know, Mr. President, can I just say one thing? What they try to do at Fox,
in terms of
but
politics.
we just want to show both. Unlike the other networks, they were trying to show both sides. So, hey, here's President Trump live, here's Joe Biden live. Because we feel it's a responsibility to sell.
We report, they decide.
Yeah,
right?
so I don't think it's an endorsement of anybody.
That right there is the proverbial hostages preventing the hostage taker from executing them.
Can you imagine the horror of those three when they set him up with a softball question? Say something bad about Barack Obama. That's basically what the question was leading to, and he couldn't even do that, and he attacks their network.
Yeah. I've never watched Fox News. That was the first time I've actually seen Fox News. Is it common for them to interview the president like that? Do news channels have the president on where they allow him to rant and rave?
He probably calls in every morning.
Just Fox. So
Just Fox. Okay.
On news channels, no.
What surprised me, I don't know if it surprised you, Abby, was that they were sitting fairly apart, and they usually sit on a couch. And I avoid that channel also, but I didn't realize that they were almost social distancing.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. What didn't surprise me was that every man in the room was talking over the one woman.
Including President Trump.
Well,
meaning they were talking over him too.
And they're afraid that he's going to start his own network.
Parlor Squared or something.
Of course, what Trump supporters lack in consistency of thought, they make up for in overconfidence, as we can see from these two groups of Trump supporters asking two different things in two different states.
Stop them count! Stop them count!
There's nothing like that divide between conservatives who don't want every vote to be counted and conservatives who want every vote to be counted.
I think it's very reminiscent. I mean, actually, they're all very good at math, right? It's Trump math. It's if you keep testing, you will find more cases, and so it's very much the same sort of thing, right? If you keep counting, you'll find more Biden votes, but if you stop counting, you won't find more Biden votes.
I love that. Great analogy.
Very good.
Not one to be denied a voice by those they deem the fake news media, these Trump supporters provide an introspective and emotional view, as we can see in this video.
What is it that brings you out here tonight, ma'am?
I just believe in America, and I think Trump is the president, so.
I think he's the greatest president we've ever had. I'm too emotional. But I'm really thankful that I've been invited here, so.
Tell me what makes you emotional about the president?
What he's done for the country, all his policy changes, what he's done for Black and brown Americans, and what he's done for Hispanic people. And this, I'm trying to think. And you know, we have Colombians, we have Venezuelans, we have Cubans that have come here from their socialist country and now live in Florida, and they're for Trump. We have all these states that are open, and some of these states that aren't open, I don't understand why. The COVID figures they're projecting right now, in my opinion, are a hoax. They're not as high as they are. The media is being false, and our Father who art in heaven is very angry with the media. He's very angry with Biden and Kamala Harris. They're going to hell, and they're going to have to ask forgiveness for that. If they don't, they're going to hell. I've asked the Holy Spirit, I've asked the angels to take him, have Satan give him a tour of hell, and I hope it happens soon.
I think we're already there, judging by that guy.
How much worse could that guy be feeling? Like, what was that? I mean, what?
I found myself agreeing with something he said, though. He said that he gets very emotional thinking about what all that Trump has done for the country and for Black and brown Americans and for Latino Americans. I get very emotional about that also.
Agreed.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction.
Right.
Yes. Shireen, you have got to have some thoughts on this Florida man.
Well, there was two things that were really bugging me. One, his voice did not match his face. Like, that is not what a crackhead sounds like. That is all that I could keep thinking about. I was like, that is not the guy's voice. And then the second piece was like, I was like, oh my God, Tom, stop playing this, because I could see myself like listening to this and start like, sometimes I get scared, like how these people get brainwashed. Like, how much do you have to listen to this to actually fall into that brainwashed category? Like, that scares me. I was just like, oh my God, if I keep listening to him, I might actually agree with something he says.
I actually found it soothing. You know, there was the piano music in the background, and that piano music actually helped to cover up the fact that, you know, he sounded like a dick.
No, he did. But then I was like nervous. I was like, oh my God, if he keeps going, I might get brainwashed. Like, the music was like that hypnosis, like, you will believe, you will believe. Brown people are bad. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm a bad person.
And I know this is an audio podcast, but Tom showed us the video, and he was wearing a mask despite the fact that COVID's overrated, except he wasn't wearing it over his face. He was wearing it on his neck and his chin.
If the only mask that you had was a Trump mask, would you wear it correctly? No, you'd want to just kind of keep it off to the side. Maybe wear it as an ascot, you know.
Did anybody else just feel like that was a real roller coaster of emotions? Like, I'm all for a sensitive man. I appreciate that he is willing to get, you know, very open on camera, but that was just an up and down. I mean, that was all over the place. I thought he was going to cry for a while, and then he got real hopeful. Then he started talking about Jesus. Then he got vengeful. Like, it was all stages of like grief in a 1-minute clip.
Abby, you just gave him a line for his Parler profile, called a sensitive man by a liberal.
That's a badge, right? That's a badge of honor.
Right.
Hey, a liberal once called me sensitive, so this can't be a microaggression.
It's understandable that Trump supporters want to stop the counting of ballots in certain cities. It's likely they're not accustomed to big numbers, as they don't have that many toes to count. Here are some of his troglodytes taking to the streets in Pennsylvania to express their dismay at the election results.
It's legal for them to count votes in Pennsylvania 2 days after the election on November 3rd?
Yes.
You're wrong. Go. I don't even want to talk to you.
When we went to bed on election night, when they told us they stopped counting, we woke up and there was a vertical spike right for Biden, 130,000 votes approximately. That's when I knew there was a problem.
Now, as my buddy Steve Bannon says, if you're going to lie, be believable about it. Because you do not have 138,000 votes come in and 135,000 of them come in for Biden.
How do you go from almost losing 200,000 in 5 hours, you're down to 30,000 votes away from winning?
A lot of Democrats voted in the mail, they voted absentee, they voted before election day.
And in a lot of states, those election day votes got counted first. That's why Trump had that early lead. And then once those other votes started getting counted, that is how Biden caught up and
So where
overtook.
are all the Trump ballots that were mailed in?
Well,
Why are we finding them laying around in different places?
But Trump was telling everybody not to mail it in, right? That's why there's so much more mail-in Democratic votes, no?
No.
I mean, it's amazing how awkward and not self-aware Trump supporters are. What, you don't believe there are people out there who didn't vote for Donald Trump? No.
No, that was his answer. He just said no.
Yeah, nobody voted by mail except for Trump and his family.
So I actually heard one of the conspiracies that they were one of the people was talking about was this incident, the 130,000 votes. So they actually dug down and found out. I listened to a different podcast today. I will not plug it, where they actually investigatively reported this, and it was a Trump supporting ballot person who accidentally just fat fingered the zero. It was like 13,000 or something, and they caught it almost immediately. So there, it is true that at 4 a.m. there was this insane spike that was more votes than even people in the county. And it was literally somebody just late night fat fingered an extra zero in, and they immediately counted it or caught it. But it was a Trump voting election judge who was the one who made the mistake in favor of Biden.
And what's amazing is that the last big case of voter fraud was in 2018. It was the 9th Congressional District in North Carolina, and it was done by the Republican candidate. So, of course, they're aware of all these tricks that could go on because, they're the ones trying to pull them off.
And also, apparently, none of these people have ever heard of voter suppression, which is a whole other story. They're worried about the people that got to vote, and they're not even talking about, the decades and hundreds of years of people who didn't get to vote at all.
Which is still going on now. I mean, that's probably why they don't think there are that many people who could have voted for Joe Biden because, they think,
they're doing such a good job of suppressing all of the votes of minorities.
They've all been admitted that they're basically doing that.
Thank you, Stacey Abrams.
That's right.
Yes. And your team.
Voters feeling like their voices aren't being heard is not new. In fact, in the days before Trump, various candidates took up the mantle of speaking for those who felt disenfranchised and left behind by America moving forward to a more inclusive society. One such candidate, 1968, Alabama Governor George Wallace, tapped into those sentiments during his campaign, and his supporters reacted in kind, as we can see in this PBS documentary footage.
They have never paid any attention to anything that the people of your state and my state did or said in the past. They ignored us and looked down their nose at us and called us everything under the sun. And I'm sick and tired of it, and I resent it because I feel that the people of our region are just as intelligent and refined and cultured as the people of any region of the United States or the entire world. And that's no reflection upon the people of any other section of our country.
Why don't you young folks get out of the auditorium? And I tell you what, I may not teach you any politics if you listen, but I'll teach you some good manners. I'll teach you some good manners, I'll teach you some good manners.
He was one of the few candidates that in my experience, that people would literally fight you over. They would hit you with their fist. I mean, the feelings were intense.
I tell you, they ought to take them people over there and put them in a bunch of cages and ship them off in a ship and dump them.
The people that really believed in Wallace were the people that he would term as the rednecks, the wool hats, the hayseed, the footlog walkers, the square dancers, the guitar pickers. They did believe that somewhere out of the ranks of the poor people that some person would ultimately rise and represent their thoughts, their ideas, and their wants and their wishes. And George Wallace was the man.
I mean, the year and the name of the candidate is different, but, the formula is the same. What you do is you gather, a like-minded, homogenous crowd, validate their belief that anyone not like them, isn't other threatening to take away their way of life. I mean, you can see from the video, the reactions, I mean, the emotions, I mean, the fighting that was going on. I mean, it's 50 years later, what's changed?
Right. It's a precursor to what we had. And this is the same place, the same state with that great culture that he mentioned that's just elected an ignoramus football coach as the senator who didn't even know the 3 branches of government.
I would like to thank that narrator for giving me like a dozen more synonyms for redneck. I always felt like, it's not enough. I need other things to say. I mean, he listed at least 10.
Probably because he's been called each of those.
Sad because this is not in the brochure when you come to America. This is the part they leave off the brochure. They need to make special brochures for people when we're coming here, like what cities to live in and what cities to avoid, because we didn't get that.
No, you think that would be in the brochure?
It should be in the brochure. Like Muslims should not move to these cities or these states. Black people should not move here. Hispanics should not move here.
My dad teaches at a school in Arkansas, and they get a lot of international students from all kinds of places. And I can only imagine if you came here to America and you were like, Arkansas, I mean, just like, what if that was your only experience?
Yeah. And then calling your family back home to tell them like what America really is. And they're like, no, that's not what we see on CNN.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're like, no, there's backyard professional wrestling. It's amazing.
And pig wrestling.
Yeah, there are no Hollywood liberals here.
And cow tipping.
You can wear camo at like any occasion.
And on that note, that's our show. I want to thank Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, and Shireen Kassam.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
And now, my final thought. In the weeks before January 20, and in this final year of humanity, as is left on life support, we can see the effects Donald Trump has had on this country. For instance, we have seen how much of a deal maker he can be. He's managed to combine 2 or 3 waves of a global pandemic into one major wave. How uniquely American. White House spokesperson Kayleigh McEnany said, of course Trump was going to the inauguration because, in her words, he's the one being inaugurated. I know she had COVID, but I find this a fascinating case study in the effect it can have on one's cognitive capabilities. Mm-hmm. So what does life hold for us in a post-Trump America? Well, this year's House of Representatives freshman orientation session provides a clue. It was different because of COVID. For example, Ashley Hinson, a new Republican representative from Iowa, had to do her orientation virtually because she is isolating after having tested positive for the virus. Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, a QAnon supporter who would have failed her background check simply at the point when the underpaid paper pusher at the local unemployment office inevitably laughed at her resume, tweeted, I proudly told my freshman class that masks are oppressive. In Georgia, we work out, shop, go to restaurants, go to work, and school without masks. My body, my choice. It's a shame her parents didn't take that my body, my choice sentiment more seriously. Missouri Democrat Cori Bush, who wore a Breonna Taylor face mask, was misidentified as the paramedic murdered by police in Louisville, Kentucky, by some Republican members of Congress not familiar with who Breonna Taylor was, just as they are unfamiliar with the last time their wives even bothered to touch their micropenises. In short, we're fucked. But on the bright side, we're less fucked in that, as of the first run airing of this episode, Trump has only 61 days to flush what remains of this country down the tubes, like the remnants of all the fast food compacted in his small intestine. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, allow me to officially welcome you to our status as a third world country. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers, with panelists Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello, and guest Shireen Kassam. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenhurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. Travel decreased owing to people not going to see their families this Thanksgiving. Not because of COVID, but because they discovered how racist their relatives really are. Given the volatility of this past election, I would have advised not getting together with family, even if there wasn't a pandemic. To date, the Trump campaign has won only one lawsuit out of well over 30. If your kid took a test in school and he only got one question right out of over 30, then you'd want to pump a little fucker full of Ritalin. Trump has proposed bringing back the use of firing squads. I'd be in favor if Trump refuses to leave the White House and gun nuts suddenly consider him a home intruder. Chris Christie is one of the few big-name Trump supporters who are urging him to concede and start the transition. As big as Chris Christie is, he could be the first person ever to jump ship to actually stop it from sinking. Laura Ingraham tweeted that Joe Biden will be 78 when he enters the White House, whereas Ronald Reagan was 78 when he left. True, but what Laura Ingraham doesn't take into account is that at the time Reagan left the White House, his brain was 178. Kyle Rittenhouse's cash bond was raised by none other than actor Rick Schroeder, fitting for someone who played a New York City police officer to raise funds for someone who killed 2 protesters trying to stop police brutality. Rick Schroeder basically just made Andy Sipowicz look less racist. Another of Kyle Rittenhouse's supporters is Mike Lindell, the founder of MyPillow. Coincidentally, MyPillow will be Kyle Rittenhouse's nickname in prison. White House advisor Stephen Miller and his wife welcomed a new baby, or as it's otherwise known, their little bundle of COVIDiot. What do you want to bet they thought karma visited them when the nurse took their baby away and they didn't see it for a while? Ancestry.com now screens for potential health problems in addition to tracing your family history. We looked at the sample you sent us. It turns out you were distantly related to Mary Queen of Scots, and you've got ball cancer. And now on with the show. I'd like to welcome our panelists, Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello.
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Abby, how's your 2 weeks been?
I've been quarantining, like for real quarantining, like not seeing anyone. We're trying to see my significant other's family, including his 90-plus-year-old grandparents. And so I have been stuck in the house, grading.
Just a regular party animal you are.
I know. This is really I'm really going out strong in 2020.
Jeff, how about yourself?
I find myself with a lot more free time since the elections, so I've been going back and I watched some MeTV, M-E-T-V, which shows very old programs, or what shows that were around when I was younger. And I find that you can't escape politics because one of the regular sponsors of MeTV is the aforementioned MyPillow guy. So my wife and I are sitting there just watching some old show. And all of a sudden I yell out, F you, at the TV because it's the MyPillow ad. So 2020 can't be over soon enough, and I can't wait to start forgetting these people. That's what's going on.
Please join me in welcoming my guests for the show, Michelle Wojciechowski and Linda Landeros.
Hey. Thank you.
Michelle, welcome back.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Anything interesting strike you this week?
Well, it was interesting that I think that Trump's lawyers once again filed suit in Wisconsin because, he's not going to just lose the state once. He's going to lose it like 370 times by the time they get finished. So that struck me. And also that people were talking about Joe Biden's socks. And I thought, wow, isn't that such a relief? That's the stupid stuff we used to talk about with presidents in the past. Like Obama, they nearly had apoplexy with his tan suit. And now they're talking about Joe's socks. And I've never been so happy in the last 4 years than the biggest piece of news about the president on a particular time frame was a piece of clothing and it wasn't a diaper. Oh, did I say that out loud? But for legal reasons, I have no knowledge that President Trump has ever or will ever wear diapers.
Too late. That's going to be the teaser for this episode.
I think you should name the episode after that. Michelle says
You suck.
Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're from the San Francisco area, is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. Yes, sir.
Anything interesting striking you this week that you've noticed?
Okay, so I've been following like the rent trends in the Bay Area, and there was like this story about how they just continue to plummet. And I am hoping to move into San Francisco when this is all done, and I get so excited every time they talk about like the rents are plummeting. I'm like, oh my god, like a studio is like still slightly unaffordable, but like not as much as it was before. But yeah, the Bay Area is kind of slipping back into lockdown. The cases are going up. I know in San Francisco the mayor kind of like, I just saw this little snippet of her, I think it was yesterday in a press conference. She was basically saying like, at this rate, the ICUs are going to fill up by the end of the month. And we're already in that dark, terrible winter. And she was like kind of coming down hard on, San Francisco, like to, follow the guidelines, stuff like that. But I'm like, San Francisco does a pretty good job, in my opinion, just from what I notice. Still, I'm like, we're still doing far better than the rest of the country, I think, but it's still, people definitely take it seriously here in the Bay Area. I will say that. I'm very glad to be here during this time.
Well, I'm from the Baltimore area. I still live there, and our dark winters start about every August. That's when the Orioles slide below 500. And everybody gets their hopes up that the Ravens season's actually going to be good.
Sounds like the A's.
Well, one of the things that struck me was, everybody was making a big deal out of Biden's cabinet appointments, that they're mostly women. He has an all-female communications team. It struck me as odd that that's, even news. I mean, we knew that most cabinets and most White Houses were mostly male. I mean, government's been pretty much a mostly male citadel for a while, but I certainly don't consider, myself what I do, history making. I try and have mostly, women on my podcasts. I'm so sick of all male podcasts that I go on. It's like, I'll be invited to go on a podcast and I'll be on with someone like Tim Dillon. And I'll be like, no, I mean, I'd rather go on with someone who has a pussy rather than someone who is one. I mean, I'm certainly not the first comic to start a comedy podcast featuring mostly women. So I don't want to toot my own horn in that regard. Your thoughts about a mostly female cabinet besides it's long past overdue?
I think the communications, you mentioned the communications, section of his appointments. Look at who's getting degrees and stuff like that. I teach psychology. It's 70 to 80% women. Communications is the same thing. So it makes sense. It's not over-representation. It's actual representation of the people who are educated in these fields right now at advanced levels.
What we're also seeing are people who have a background in the field and have government experience. Now, from what I read, that was a source of consternation on Fox News. How dare they have people who had government experience? But these are people who have worked in different branches of government, perhaps for President-elect Biden or Vice President-elect Harris, and so they have experience. They're not there just because they contributed a lot of money to the campaign, or they have the same last name as the president-elect.
And they're smart. He's bringing in smart people. Remember what that was like, everyone? There are smart people who are going to understand things. And it's not going to be like a bunch of, let's see, almost every woman Trump has picked. Let me see. Oh, yeah, she's blonde, right? Not against any blondes, Tom, just saying. But, I actually look forward to the day when hiring a bunch of women doesn't make news, where it's just normal and it's natural, and hiring people of color doesn't make news because it's just what happens.
Linda, your thoughts?
I think it's great. It's an all-female communications team. However, that's how it should have been the whole time. women are way better at communicating than men are. I can tell you this from the conversations I have with men on dating apps. They, women, we're more in touch with our feelings and stuff. We understand our emotional patterns. So that's just common sense. That's what it should be. So common sense shouldn't be news. I agree with that. You mentioned you're tired of being on all male podcasts, and I feel you on that. However, I will be on an all male podcast if all the males are hot. But as you can imagine, all the males who are hosting podcasts, I mean, Joe Rogan's like probably the nicest, fuckable looking guy, and he is not fuckable. So, the all male podcast, is dying.
I'm not nice, hot, or fuckable. So how you ended up on
you have women on your podcast.
I listened to some earlier episodes. I'm like, okay, yeah, you have a variety of perspectives. Okay, that's cool.
With the novelty of the Trump administration soon to be behind us, we are now given the opportunity to witness another novelty: cabinet appointees who actually know what the fuck they're doing. Here's Secretary of State designate Anthony Blinken in a previous capacity, representing the government, explaining refugees on an episode of Sesame Street.
May I ask you a question?
Hi, I'm Deputy Secretary Tony Blinken from the State Department.
Wow, you have a long name. I am trying to find the big "un" building, and it is so confusing because, untied means not tied, and unhappy means not happy. So "un" building must be not a building, and I have been looking everywhere, and I cannot. What does an "un" building even look like?
No, Grover, it's not the UN building, it's the UN building. UN stands for United Nations, a place where nations or countries from all over the world come together to cooperate on important issues.
I knew that.
One of the issues we're going to talk about is something really important. Refugees.
Oh, Deputy Secretary Tony Blinken from the State Department. I know all about refugees.
You do?
Of course I do. They are the ones who wear striped shirts and blow whistles at soccer games.
And all kinds of people are refugees. And even though they come from many different places, they're just like you and me.
Oh, like my friends on Sesame Street. We are all different in some ways, but in a lot of other ways, we are the same.
That's right. And we all have something to learn and gain from one another, even when it doesn't seem at first like we have much in common.
I know exactly what you mean. For example, I am cute and fuzzy and blue. You, on the other hand, you are cute enough, I suppose, but not very fuzzy, just on the top of your head, and you are not blue at all.
See, Tony Blinken's reaction to Grover is pretty much my reaction to every single conversation I've had with a Trump supporter. And in this instance, Grover isn't trying to hand Tony Blinken a Patriot Front sticker.
Under the Biden administration, blue monsters matter.
I kind of love how stupid funny Grover is. Like it's been a while since I've seen Sesame Street, but that unbuilding, that really got me in the beginning. Like that's a funny joke. I would watch Grover as a commentator, on a CNN show or something, just talk to all these people who this is their job to talk about politics, and just watch him just misunderstand everything and just bring it down to a children's level. I'm for more of those types of interactions, and if they got more of the Muppets involved to cover to take over some of those shows, I'd be down for that.
Throughout the Trump years, right-wing activists have taken to social media to talk about how they're constantly being censored by social media. Here's a clip of recording artist Ricky Rebel at the In Name Only Million MAGA March in D.C.
So here's what I gotta say. This is a massive rally right now, and I cannot go live on Facebook.
You either?
Because, nobody
can.
Nobody can go live on Facebook right now. Let's talk about that. We have to do video right now, but we can't go live, so we have to post it later because they're censoring.
And once they realize what video you're posting later, they'll probably try to slow that down too. That's how they do. That's the games they play, man. This is what we're fighting right now. This is what we're fighting, the censorship. all
Yeah,
the
we're fighting-
craziness.
Yeah.
And that's why we out here with Ricky Rebel.
That's right.
Rocking the vote, man. Stopping the steal. And we going to get it going, man. If you just look out here, it's nothing but love. And we are surrounding this city,
Surrounded
yo.
by love. So
Love it,
much
baby.
love. Patriots that love this country.
Yeah, love
and
it.
we know that they tried to steal this election, but we're not going to let them get away with it.
Yes, sir. Ricky Rebel and not black, not white American, baby. We love you.
We love you.
Yes, sir.
Say, USA, USA.
So that was Ricky Rebel claiming big tech was censoring the Stop the Steal rally in DC in a video that he posted to Twitter. I mean,
where's his mask?
I was going to say, we're surrounded by love and COVID.
it's not internet censorship. It's the fact that, you know, they don't realize this, that so many people are logging on that, you know, the Wi-Fi slows down. And so they can't post anything like at that time. You know, it's that lack of thought that demonstrates why you don't see Ricky Rebel contributing to like PC Magazine or anything like that.
Really? I thought that was an example of a really big brain trust there. That just, you know where the smart ones come out.
Look, so I'm actually with him about leaving Facebook, and I think I found where I personally am going to go. A couple weeks ago, I decided I'm actually going to leave all social media and just do the comments in recipes on cooking blogs. That's where you get real controversy, people. Volume versus weight measurements. You've got conversion factors. How much salt is too much salt?
The measuring versus cutting controversy.
And the all recipes matter crowd. Those are the ones that get you.
There's no censorship in the comments section.
I think you should do it. You should leave Facebook for sure. Who actually watches like your Facebook lives? Like our Latina tias, our aunts, will like walk around like our, you know, any kind of get together, like filming on Facebook Live. And I asked myself, like, who's watching your Facebook Live? We're all here. This is pre-COVID days, by the way, when we would all gather, but like, who is watching? And, you know, these Trump supporters, like, I know they say they have like the numbers, but I'm like, I'm telling you, that's all the Trump supporters for like a huge, you know, radius. They're all at the place. Like, who's watching their Facebook lives of their Trump, you know, events?
I've done a couple of Instagram lives on my account, and I'm pretty convinced that the only reason that people are watching them is because they have run out of porn to watch, which, by the way, good for them, because that means they finished up their cardio for the day.
Instagram Live feels different than Facebook Live, because I do watch people's Instagram lives. Like Instagram Live, that's where it's at. That's their mistake. They're not on Instagram Live.
I mean, what's the difference though between, you know, Instagram Live and Facebook Live, besides just the app?
The emojis, the little hearts, you know. You can send love.
I mean, but Facebook has those as well, don't they? Or no,
Yeah, you can do that on Facebook Live.
Oh, I meant it was the poking or the thumbs up and the liking, right, on Facebook. Like, there's just too much with the hands, like between the thumbs up and the poking. Like that's a lot. It feels like harassment, you know, coming from, you know, from my perspective as a woman.
The idea that any point of view other than Donald Trump's could be recognized in this country is baffling to some Americans. Viewers of Fox, for example. Being flabbergasted by the positive affirmation to opposing views is a major character trait of Fox hosts, as we can see in their reaction to the audience at a Pete Buttigieg town hall hosted by their network.
Wouldn't your plan to do away with the Electoral College hurt a state like New Hampshire?
Well, first of all, New Hampshire's status as an early primary state is one of the things that sees to it that there is a lot of attention paid here. And it's actually something that I think forces us candidates to get out of national media mode and actually engage people in a human way, which is helpful. But when it comes to the general election, at risk of sounding simplistic, I think the right thing to do is just to have everybody's vote count the same. Look, states don't vote, people vote. And
he's extremely progressive, wants to get rid of the Electoral College.
Right. In New Hampshire, which would diminish their effectiveness.
But he also
but the people clapped loudly when he said that.
Well, because they're all his friends. I think he's related to the whole audience.
They sound like aliens. What is this will of the people concept of which you humans speak? I mean, I would watch more episodes of Fox and Friends if just them hearing views like that means that they would go into just complete short circuit mode and then stroke out right there live on television.
The concept that anybody could believe something that they have been told not to believe is foreign to them.
Or more importantly, that people would do something that took something potentially an advantage away from them for the greater good. That's what they can't believe. That's why they keep saying, well, wouldn't that hurt New Hampshire? Isn't that bad? You know, so the idea that people in New Hampshire would support something that ultimately gives them slightly less power for a general principle, that's what they can't understand.
Right, that's something that goes against the Fox playbook. Good point.
Plus, in I think 7 of the last 8 elections, New Hampshire voted for the Democratic candidate. So, you know, why I'm surprised they didn't pick up on that sooner and say, oh, yes, let's diminish New Hampshire. Let's give more power to Idaho.
I love the stuff they come up with when they said that the whole audience is his friends. Like, there should be a sketch show where we can like show like, okay, so here's a sketch where we show, you know, Pete Buttigieg calling all his friends saying like, hey, so I'm gonna be doing this thing for like Fox News. Can you come? You down? And then like, okay, cool. Well, I have like, you know, 500 other people to call because I have a lot of friends.
Was that just a dig at like how small New Hampshire is?
Or I don't know. You know, they make him sound like he has a lot of friends, and that's a good thing. That means he's liked. Like, are they that unlikable? They're like, ugh, we only have 2 friends. Oh wait,
and we booked him on a bringer show.
And here's the thing: it's a Fox audience. Like, it's their audience, so they're upset at how their audience reacted.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, come on. We've talked about they're not exactly rocket scientists. You know, I mean, they probably forgot by the time they went on. Or if they would think that their audience had forgotten that they had put their own, you know, that it was Fox News watchers in the audience. Hey, let's just say they're all Mayor Pete's friends. Yeah, well, that's what we'll do.
Once Trump leaves office, the investigation into his financial dealings will go full speed ahead. Despite the urgency of the investigation, curiosity of Trump's finances and his net worth are nothing new. For example, here he is tap dancing around this subject during an appearance on David Letterman's show in 1987, complete with the trolling of Trump from the band at the end.
Has enough money to give everyone in the audience tonight $1 million. Okay, we'll see what kind of mood he's in. How much are you worth right now as you're sitting right here?
Zero idea, David. It depends on what's happening with the world and the market.
Do you make more money from the casinos or more money in real estate development?
Well, probably real estate in a sense, but real estate is an appreciation business, whereas the casinos are cash flow. And I don't know, I never really even think of it in those terms. I tried doing a great job.
All right, now let's get back to the assessment of your wealth for a second. If you had to liquidate, if you just decided I'm going somewhere else, I'm going to live in a trailer, and you wanted to sell off everything, you'd start with your real estate development, all of your real estate holdings, and whatever else you have, your casinos, so on and so forth. You sold everything. Right. How big would that check be that you put in your pocket when you headed west for the trailer?
Well, I hate to disappoint, but I have zero idea, David. How come this seat is at such a low level? You know, I'm looking at him. He's got this stage rigged, folks.
No. We'll do a commercial. We'll let him think some of these over and try and get a straight answer.
Given what we know now, it was awfully prescient of Paul Schaefer to play Trump out with his cover of the Beatles' Taxman.
And the reference to the stage being rigged.
Yeah, we heard that 5 billion times in the last 4 years.
When someone with the caliber of the office of President of the United States on one's resume, the inevitable flood of speaking opportunities, offers to be nominal members of corporate boards, and even the occasional overseas humanitarian mission is inevitable. However, Unlike his predecessors, look for Trump to only get cast for projects that essentially punk him, like this sit-down with Sacha Baron Cohen's character, Ali G.
I've got some business idea that I just want to tell you about, and I'll be a fool if...
Very quickly.
What is the most popular thing in the world?
Music.
No.
Tell me.
Ice cream.
Okay.
Everyone has it. And what is the problem with ice cream?
I have no idea.
It drips.
Okay.
So my idea is what?
To make a drip-proof ice cream.
No. Brilliant idea, this. All right, whatever. You ain't going to come out with that, though.
No, I promise you I won't.
Well, my idea is to come out with just like these ice cream gloves that make the ice cream not go on your hands and make it all well sticky. And also keep your hands warm when you is eating the ice cream.
Okay.
Is you win or is you win?
Okay, well, it sounds like a good idea, and I hope you make a lot of money. Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
Is you going to be in on that?
Well, it sounds like an interesting...
We've got like P. Diddy is going to be in it.
Good.
To be fair to Donald Trump, I can actually relate to him in one respect. His reaction to the ice cream glove is my reaction, whenever I think to myself, why did I agree to be a guest on this podcast?
You kind of see the evolution of his patience with comedians between the first clip and that clip. And like at this now, he just doesn't go at all.
So how long do you think it's going to take for him to, I don't think he's ever going to concede. But do you think he's going to leave the White House as an adult? I mean, do you think he's going to have to be dragged out? I think this whole thing with him going through his entire life, never having to say that he was a loser, that he lost something, is getting a little ridiculous.
I think he'll probably get told he's still president. Just every single time they let him out of his straitjacket.
I suspect that he goes to his Shangri-La in Florida around Christmas and doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That way he can avoid people getting ready for him to depart. He doesn't have to watch anybody packing, and he doesn't have to be there for the inauguration.
Well, and it's not like he's been known for doing work anyway. So it's not like people are going to say, hey, where's Donald? How can the country survive without him?
He'll probably spend these last weeks as president doing what he's been doing the last 4 years, which is being on Pornhub when he's not on camera.
Honestly, I don't think he's ever going to say like the actual words like I concede or anything remotely close. But like, I think, it's going to happen. Like he's just going to like not be there one day. But I'm sure he's going to tell his base like, for the sake of, democracy, I'm, going to step this one out. But, we did win. And I don't put it past him to not show up to Biden's inauguration, in which case, like, I think Obama should just be there.
Yeah, really.
Like he should just Obama. So it should be that way. Can look like Obama is like passing the reins on to Biden, because that's kind of what's happening here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it'll get to the point where he'll make everybody around him call him the president of Mar-a-Lago. Melania will have left him, and he'll essentially make Ivanka his first lady. Because
oh my God,
and Florida's the place that would accept that.
On that note, that's our show. I want to thank Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, Michelle Wojciechowski, and Linda Landeros.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
But before we go, my final thought. As we approach the holiday season, let's all be considerate of one another. I especially want to address this to everybody who caters to holiday shoppers. Please make sure all your customers practice shopping very safely, maintain social distancing, and wearing a mask. And if any of your customers refuse to do that, do the only humanitarian thing possible, telling their kids that the coronavirus killed Santa Claus. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers, with panelists Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello, and guests Michelle Wojciechowski and Linda Landeros. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenjurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. It's official. COVID-19 is now a major cause of death among Americans. That's great news for tobacco company executives who are finally relieved to be bumped off the top of the list. Donald Trump is replacing all of the career officials at the Pentagon with his own supporters and fellow conspiracy theorists in an effort that will later be known as Operation September 11th, the sequel. Scott Atlas left the White House Coronavirus Task Force. I always thought it was a questionable move to bring in someone from the Hoover Institute, named after someone who looked at one of the greatest economic calamities in the country's history and said, fuck it, let it sort itself out. Atlas's departure was a historic moment. It was the first time that liberals actually enjoyed watching Atlas shrugged. Former New York City mayor and Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani tested positive for the coronavirus. I'm relieved in a way. After surviving prostate cancer and breathing in the fumes at the World Trade Center, I was beginning to think he was Satan. At this point, the Republicans may have their own two-party system. The institutionalists and the ones who should be institutionalized. It's nauseating how sycophantic the Republicans are. Even Mike Pence is 2 weeks away from calling Trump mother. Joe Biden has won so many of the recounts in the various battleground states, I often wonder if he won't get extra electoral votes just for all the extra victories. If so, he may be the first presidential candidate to have his electoral vote total go into quadruple digits. There's a theory that Trump may pardon himself to distract from the coverage of Biden's inauguration. If I was a newspaper writer and I was given the task of covering the self-pardon, the entire text would be, yeah, fuck that guy. Once Trump leaves, the Biden people will find a button on the floor of the White House that says, press to restore the White House to its factory settings. The guy who created the recipe for Slim Jims died after contracting the coronavirus. Given his product was called Slim Jims, it would have been more fitting if it was AIDS. And on that note, on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Abby, what have you been up to this week?
So I know I mentioned last week I've been quarantining, which is tomorrow will be 3 weeks since I've been in public and seen humans, and I'm starting to go a little weird. I caught myself yesterday just staring at people out my peephole. Like I looked because I was like, well, I don't want to leave until there's, I want to make sure there's nobody outside when I walk out my door. But then they were just like doing stuff, like putting up decorations. And so I just started like watching them like a total weirdo. So that's where I am mentally right now after 3 weeks of not being around other humans.
You're regressing to going back to like, the 1970s when just instead of getting thrilled by, people falling off their roofs and posting the videos on YouTube, you're amused by people actually just putting up decorations. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm just an old school voyeur. It's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Jeff, how about yourself?
Well, this week I heard that Joe Rogan and Mark Maron had two of the most popular podcasts in America. But Tom, I want to let you know that I'm petitioning the attorneys general from various states, including Texas, to have this podcast declared as the most popular podcast in the land.
Bravo.
But I think the guy from Texas, Paxton, I think his name is, I have a meeting with him, and I want to, and he'll believe anything. So I'm gonna talk to him about this.
I had a joke that I did in my act where I talked about how depending on how short I get my haircut, people will often look at me and then think, "Ooh, Ellen DeGeneres has let herself go." So I don't know. Maybe if you can convince them that I'm actually another famous comedian instead of just me, then I don't know. That might actually work.
Short Conan O'Brien.
I can't get the pompadour. Believe me, I've tried. In my teen years, I tried to do the whole pompadour duck sass thing. Talking about regressing to back in time. I tried that and I couldn't manage it. Joining us this week to discuss pretty much every single thing going on in the news, JJ Boyd and Violet Gray.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Violet, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's my first time.
Anything in the news you've been keeping an eye on this week?
Well, actually, right before we logged on, I saw that something like 40s plus attorneys general have launched a massive lawsuit against Facebook to break up the company. I just read that, which I thought was pretty interesting. Especially now because Facebook was blamed a lot for a lot of the misinformation that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. And people are saying that this election with Joe Biden was definitely more secure than the last one was. And it just seems weird that they're going after Facebook now when they saw Facebook as a much bigger risk about 4 years ago.
I'd love it if they would break up Facebook. I really would. Lately, I don't know if I've just been, sort of progressing into older age, but I've been posting, pictures of my cat a lot recently. And, I don't want to run the risk of posting a photo of my cat and then all of a sudden, someone posting QAnon stuff, like in the comment section.
Right. Well, they're getting elected to Congress now, so.
JJ, how about yourself?
I'm good. I'm talking about the Facebook thing. I hope they break them up. I may actually be able to stay out of jail.
Facebook jail or real jail?
Yes. I'm coming from my attorney's office. Dude, just been. It's funny, like you were talking about getting work and stuff. I'm still not comfortable doing live comedy. Just today I turned down 3 different shows. Like, oh, it'll be January. I go, yeah, just what I want to do is to buy the farm 16 days before like the vaccine is totally out there. So just been working on my website and all the internet stuff that I've been doing and just waiting this out, man. Just I wish I could spend 3 weeks in my house. I got plenty of food here and enough cable TV to last me a lifetime.
I think what this pandemic has done is it's turned comics. They used to talk about going underground and just getting away from the world. Now they have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
They're literally becoming like their own comedic, Minutemen, where they're doing all their training by playing like Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked because certain places that I usually play have sent me availability, and I see videos and pictures, and there's crowds, no masks, using one microphone. I'm like, okay, well, at least I know when this is over, there's definitely going to be slots for new comics.
Comics will be taking those shows, doing those shows during the pandemic, and even if they bomb, they can legit say they've killed during their sets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's spreading the word.
Despite enough states certifying their election results and giving Joe Biden the presidency, Donald Trump is still hoping that he can maintain power by sending the aforementioned latest COVID petri dish, Rudy Giuliani, all around the country to contest results in various states. So far, it hasn't turned out to be the Perry Mason effect he wanted, as we can see from this video of Rudy appearing before legislators in Michigan.
It was a very big surprise to me that our votes are sent out of the United States. It's also a big surprise to me that our votes are counted by a foreign company. I'd like to put into the record a letter written by my congresswoman many years ago, Carolyn Maloney, who pointed out all of the problems with this company, Dominion. I'd also put in the record letters from Elizabeth Warren and somebody else that I can't remember right now, but another United States senator.
The computer would throw an error. It would say ballot number 25, there's an error. Instead of discarding, they were just rescanning, counting ballots 9 to 10 times. I observed it thousands of times.
Thousands of times? And
the fact that now, as the other representative said, that you can actually show up and vote without an ID, it's shocking. Like, a lot of people think all Indians look alike. I think all Chinese look alike. So how would you tell?
There we go. That was the cast of Brain Damage, the music.
Okay, so a few things. One, the blonde-haired lady, here's a tip. Maybe get drunk after the testimony. And two, the one lady that was like, all Chinese people look alike. Wait, what does that have to do with an ID? Like, if you establish that they don't need an ID to vote, then what are you trying to tell apart? You don't have a frame of reference. That's so dumb.
You know, all IDs look alike too. Yeah, there you go. By using her logic.
Especially within each state, they all look alike that way.
Yeah, to your point, Violet, is she implying that people are just like walking back through the line a bunch of times and that no one would notice because they'll just like what? Yeah, she's not comparing an ID to something. So what is the implication that?
Right. That didn't make logical sense.
And these were the people that Rudy Giuliani wanted to testify.
Could you imagine one's left out?
Yeah, I think the person left out would literally just have to be a burning cross and a MAGA hat.
Well, you know what I keep saying to people is, I'm like, they keep talking about these Dominion machines. If you had questions about the validity of them, you thought of it only after the election? Did you maybe think that maybe if you had said something before the election, they could have looked into it beforehand? Oh, that's right. It wouldn't have fit into your narrative. I got you.
Right. And they certainly didn't have that problem 4 years ago when Trump won the state by fewer votes than Joe did.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, I read that in I forgot which state it was, where they were using the Dominion machines, Trump won 52% of the precinct. So you can't have it both ways.
Right. Yeah. Someone did point out that Republicans gained some seats in the last election. So how is it that the votes are rigged for Joe Biden, but not for the Republicans that won?
You gotta throw some red herrings in there. You know how it is. Like, you gotta throw them off the trail, Violet. You can't just win everything.
Of course.
You're a writer. You know how this works.
Yeah, that's true.
The latest member of the Trump acolytes to admit there was no fraud in this election was Trump lawyer and pretender to the head of the Justice Department, William Barr. When such an ass-kisser like the wannabe attorney general admits Trump has no case, you would think that would be game over and time to move on. Not so if you compare these two clips, one from MSNBC and one from Fox. See if you listeners can tell which is which.
MAGA supporters and Trump loyalists turning angry with Attorney General Bill Barr, who has long been known as very, very loyal to the president, all because he said something true. He debunked the idea that there was systemic voter fraud. He mentioned that in a memo, which we reported on, and now he's saying it to the public. But one insider is calling it a complete betrayal, to tell the truth, and that makes Barr a failure.
And you, Mr. Barr, are so deep in the swamp, you can't see beyond your fellow reptiles. And you are not the exceptional leader needed at this exceptional time.
Credit to Jeanine Pirro. She does serve some purpose. Thinking of her prevents me from getting an erection in public.
Jeanine Pirro is such a she's doing a bad character. You know what she is? She's a congresswoman from a recent Steven Seagal movie. She's just this terrible, she's like Candace Owens, at least. She's a convincing heel. This woman is not. She's just a B-budget actor of a cartoonishly conservative pundit.
It's like a Kayleigh McEnany without the charisma.
Right.
And what's the difference between what we just saw and Cecily Strong's impersonation of her on Saturday Night Live?
Right. Like, where do you go when your source is absurd?
Well, I think she tried to do a special once where she was in the woods in Chappaqua tracking down Hillary Clinton to try and ask her some questions. I would have loved to seen a Secret Service agent mistake her for Sasquatch and just shoot her with a tranquilizer dart. Although, given her alleged, we have to say this, alleged predilection to boxed wine, the tranquilizer dart may have had no effect on her.
Could have helped.
There is one more thing keeping Mitch McConnell from losing his grip on the United States Senate, much in the same way he tries to maintain his grip on staying alive. It's the 2 Senate runoff elections in Georgia. This past Sunday saw 2 Senate debates. The second of the 2 runoff debates was between Senator Kelly Loeffler of Trump Land and Reverend Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Like a good Trump Party member, Kelly Loeffler remembered her talking points like a pro. Unfortunately for her, she didn't seem to remember anything else, as we can see in these excerpts from her debate performance.
You know, Chuck Schumer said, now we take Georgia, then we change America. The promise that Chuck Schumer made was to fundamentally change America, and I'm making sure that we don't go down the road of socialism. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up working in the fields. I waitressed my way through school, and I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I worked hard to live the American dream. The Democrats want to fundamentally change America, and the agent of change is my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. I'm fighting for the American dream every day. You know, my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock has partnered with Stacey Abrams. Well, predictably, you've just heard more lies from radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, would be a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer. You've just heard radical liberal Raphael Warnock lie again and not answer a question. And my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, would be a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. I have been blessed to live the American dream. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up working in the fields. I started filling out a time card when I was 11. I waitressed my way through high school and college. And I also know I'm blessed to live the American dream, and that's why I'm fighting to protect it. But my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, is a socialist. I was blessed to live the American dream. Look, these are more lies from radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Everything's at stake on January 5th, the future of the country. We can take the path of supporting the American dream, or we can take the path of socialism that radical liberal Raphael Warnock wants to bring to our country.
If only there was a way to tell the political affiliation of the candidates.
Right. I was just wondering, wait, which side is he on? Is he, what are his politics and how extreme is he? I just couldn't.
All I see is a wig like Bugs Bunny used to dress up in, going, my name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. My name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. Oh, my God. By
the way, I promise I didn't just cut and paste the same clip when I did the editing. I mean, that was half the time she said radical liberal Raphael Warnock. When I was editing for this episode, the actual clip I was going to show was about 5 minutes long.
Oh,
and
God.
I just said, okay, I can't listen to this. I had to cut it down.
She's defending America against socialism. The same person whose family farm has taken $3 million in subsidies from the taxpayers. It's the same person who just financed a campaign airplane at the expense of the taxpayers. But she's defending America against Chuck Schumer. And why did she pick Chuck Schumer, folks? Because he's Jewish. That's why.
Oh.
And she's got the charisma of a prostate exam.
Yeah. Not one you schedule, but one like you're just walking along
something the wrong way.
Walking down the street one day and then a prostate jumps out of the bushes.
Well, I have to give credit. I mean, David Perdue, by comparison, almost looked good by not showing up. I mean, Kelly Loeffler sounded like she was phoning it in.
Did somebody actually watch that and say, boy, she convinced me?
Yeah, one of the things, I watched that debate, and one of the things you quickly realize is that she is not actually capable of answering questions that pertain to the job. She came there to fearmonger about her opponent, and that's exactly what she did. But when they flat out asked her, should politicians be able to trade stocks? And she literally did not know what to say. She completely ignored that question. She was like, I'm here to fight for America. That's basically what she said to this very specific question.
Now, the word cloud of that, like what she said, if you made that into a word cloud, it's just 8 words and 7 of them are radical and 1 of them is liberal.
Right, right.
When I watched that, the first thing that came to my mind, because I'm a simple guy, was Kung Fu Panda when Poe goes through the test, and when he's finished, he goes, "Congratulations, there's now a score of 0."
I looked at Kelly Loeffler and I thought, she wants to get out of there really bad. It's almost like she wanted to get home so she could spit roast a puppy.
Don't you know I have a women's basketball team to destroy? Come on, it's a waste of my time.
I mean, it was almost like whenever you turn into a top 40 radio station, always the moment you turn in, it's the same songs that you keep hearing over and over again. That was her debate performance, basically.
Yes, it was basically her debate performance was the greatest hits of Kelly Loeffler's debate performance.
Yeah, it was "Sweet Child of Mine" on your classic rock station for the 17th time.
Yeah, but it's just the chorus over and over.
Right,
and
right.
And in that song, the sweet child was born on a farm and worked waitressing tables.
Right.
I don't know if she mentioned that.
And didn't mention that she's married to the president of New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, yeah. You know, like most hard working class Americans are.
That's my American dream. That's who I want to marry.
You want to marry the president of the New York Stock Exchange?
I mean, who wouldn't?
I'm not gay, but I would consider it for the package deal, you know.
Right. You get your private jet and, you know.
I'll give a handy to the bull down in Wall Street. I'm right here. I can go in this.
I used to work on political campaigns in a separate lifetime ago. And, you know, we try and get the candidate to, you know, remember a few key phrases during their stump speech or their debate. But, you know, we tried to get them to remember and say other stuff as well.
Right, right.
I think
that was like she fell asleep at night to just a mantra of radical liberal and radical, like my opponent, the radical, like it's like she just listens to that on a loop.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like her record, like the record inside her skipped.
Yeah, like when you get a song stuck in your head, but she's just
like
verbalizing all of it.
She's the Milli Vanilli of local politics.
Right. Yeah, it's like if radical liberal Raphael Warnock was her text alarm and somebody kept texting her.
Give it and snooze.
Her campaign gave her a campaign book of policies, and she said, and she could only remember one sentence.
Right. And it was radical liberal Raphael.
Right. That was it. It was probably written on her hand too.
Right.
I have to give it to her though. That is a little bit of a tongue twister. Like that could definitely be a warm up, you know, vocal exercise. That phrase, like.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the amount of times and precision that she said it.
Kind of impressive.
That's going to be everyone's pre-show tongue twisting exercise. Not red leather, yellow leather, but radical liberal Raphael Warnock.
Yeah.
See, it's harder to say.
Of course, just because the election is over, it doesn't mean that Trump and the Republicans are willing to concede, much like their obsession with the non-existent war on Christmas, as we can see from this clip from a rally in Georgia.
Let me begin by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Remember the word? Remember? We started 5 years ago, and I said, you're going to be saying Christmas again, and we say it proudly again, although they'll be trying to take that word again out of the vocabulary. We're not going to let them do that.
I mean, nobody stopped saying Merry Christmas. Like, everybody's always said it. I think the reason he started saying Merry Christmas, I think he's never actually said it. He's just always used his company Christmas parties to troll for the next younger Mrs. Trump.
Yeah.
As if Hallmark would ever let that happen.
Right. Yeah, because I doubt that he's been visited by the 3 spirits that need to visit him. So.
And the son of a gun has never said Happy Hanukkah, so I'm starting a whole new movement.
That's right.
It's a war on the Jews.
Don't give them any ideas, Jay.
Radical liberal.
For the past few years, the holidays have been merely another excuse for families to argue about politics during what are supposed to be festive get-togethers. Dallas and Brad Woodhouse, two brothers with opposing views, chronicled this phenomenon in a film they were promoting on a segment on C-SPAN, when their idea of the modern holiday family function was promptly shot down by a caller very close to home.
You know, what's interesting about the movie, it's about an hour and 10 minutes long, is it's not really the story of just Brad and Dallas Woodhouse, who have very different political ideas. I would make the contention that Woodhouse Divided is a story of all families, and the story and the sort of the conversations that they have around their Thanksgiving tables and the conversations they'll have with their extended families at Christmas and Hanukkah coming up in the next couple of weeks. It, talks about, the very real discussions that families have about dividing politics in our nation.
Let's go to
This is
Joy.
Steve's show, Dallas.
Go to Joy in Raleigh, North Carolina. Good.
Hey,
Good
somebody
evening,
from
Joy.
down south.
Well, you're right. I'm from down south.
Oh, God, it's Mom.
And I'm your mother. And I disagree that all families are like ours. I don't know many families that are fighting at Thanksgiving.
Is this really your mother?
No, you're our mom. Most
I would
years.
really like a peaceful Christmas. And I love you both.
Now, I have to say this, credit to my mother. She teaches at a school where in her contract, they put a morality clause. And as a result of this morality clause, she will never, ever do that on a podcast on which I'm appearing. So I'm safe.
Oh, I thought that's why we don't take calls, Tom.
In case your mother shows up.
By the way, is Dallas Woodhouse that guy's real name or his porn name?
Yes.
Wow, it's funny because my mom and I don't see things politically the same. She leans, believe it or not, to the right. But my mom had a stroke in June, and I keep threatening. I go, look, you're weak from the right side. One wrong move, I'm coming at you with a pillow, lady. One less Trump supporter, and I'm on the insurance policy. So.
And you're also the lead story on OAN.
Oh, sure, radical Jew.
I think it's delightful that his mom watches when he's on TV.
I'm going to give them a piece of my mind.
But I think most of all of our parents couldn't care less what we do with our free time. But I think it's kind of cute. It was a little heartwarming, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Southern accent just kind of made that a little creepy to me. I'm going to call in and tell them what I'm thinking.
What was the opening line? Something like, heck yeah, I'm from the South, or something
Yeah.
like that. What was it?
The guy recognized her voice right away.
Or some from the South. In order to get to the telephone, I had to throw off my Confederate flag blanket. Are you kidding me?
I had to place a call onto the C-SPAN.
Yeah, the C-SPAN.
My three white cats, K, K, and K. I had to shush them away.
And on that note, that's our show. I want to thank our panelists, Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, JJ Boyd, and Violet Gray.
Yay.
But before we go, my final thought. In the years that I've been including political topics and current events in my comedy, I found I can sympathize with female comics in that we're often the target of comics and podcast hosts who are anti-political correctness. The big difference is I don't get unsolicited dick pics in my direct messages. I ask for them. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello and guests JJ Boyd and Violet Gray. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenhurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Hello, welcome to the Tom Myers vs. the Rest of the World 2020 Best of Special. Although we only did 6 episodes this year, we discussed a lot, from the COVID pandemic to the presidential election and its aftermath. Here are the best moments from this year, plus some bits that didn't quite make the initial airings. Joining me are Jeff Heisen, Abby Mello, JJ Boyd, Michelle Wojciechowski, Tara Haley, Susan Turnbull, Lucy Strasball, Shireen Kassam, Linda Landeros, and Violet Gray. Donald Trump tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this month. The White House has contingency plans in case something happens to him. So do I. I'm playing Wine Fairy to all of my friends and having a big party over Zoom. When news of the diagnosis came out, Fox started composing and recording funeral music, just in case. Ivanka Trump tweeted that her father is a warrior and that he would beat the virus. I don't know, Ivanka. This seems a lot more serious than non-existent bone spurs. If Joe Biden is not left-wing enough for you, you don't have that many options. There is the Republican-backed, by way of Russian intelligence agency's Green Party, with its presidential candidate, Howie Hawkins. Howie. Howie is not the name of a world leader. Howie is your neighbor's 9-year-old kid who tries to sell you $5 chocolate bars so his soccer team can go play in a tournament out of state. Would you like to buy a chocolate bar, Chancellor Merkel? I tried to write some jokes about the libertarians, but then I came to the conclusion that they should be able to write them without help from anyone else. There is hope for Trump's chances of victory. If you count only the votes in states where someone has threatened to throw a tall boy bar table at my head while I was on stage, then Donald Trump wins the Electoral College unanimously. It looks like Trump will retire like most aging white New Yorkers, move to Florida, play golf, and bitch about non-whites, the ones who don't change his linens. The Republican Party is so far gone from its days when it could call itself the Party of Lincoln. The only way they could accurately use the term 77 years ago is when they answer the question, when was the last time anyone in your family shook hands with a black person? It's official. COVID-19 is now a major cause of death among Americans. That's great news for tobacco company executives who are finally relieved to be bumped off the top of the list. Donald Trump is replacing all of the career officials at the Pentagon with his own supporters and fellow conspiracy theorists in an effort that will later be known as Operation September 11th, the sequel. Scott Atlas left the White House Coronavirus Task Force. I always thought it was a questionable move to bring in someone from the Hoover Institute, named after someone who looked at one of the greatest economic calamities in the country's history and said, fuck it, let it sort itself out. Atlas's departure was a historic moment. It was the first time that liberals actually enjoyed watching Atlas shrugged. Trump supporters are leaving Facebook and Twitter because they're tired of their posts being fact-checked. So they're moving to a new app called Parler, spelled P-A-R-L-E-R. It's the perfect place for Trumpsters, an app with the name of a word that's misspelled. And if you have any complaints about that joke, you can reach out to me on my Parler account.
Oh, no.
Hot Dad Bod XXX36. That's right, Dan Bongino. You thought you could block me on Twitter, but I'm back, fucker! Kyle Rittenhouse's cash bond was raised by none other than actor Rick Schroeder. Fitting for someone who played a New York City police officer to raise funds for someone who killed 2 protesters trying to stop police brutality. Rick Schroeder basically just made Andy Sipowicz look less racist. Another of Kyle Rittenhouse's supporters is Mike Lindell, the founder of MyPillow. Coincidentally, MyPillow will be Kyle Rittenhouse's nickname in prison. The idea that any point of view other than Donald Trump's could be recognized in this country is baffling to some Americans, viewers of Fox, for example. Being flabbergasted by the positive affirmation to opposing views is a major character trait of Fox hosts, as we can see in their reaction to the audience at a Pete Buttigieg town hall hosted by their network.
Wouldn't your plan to do away with the Electoral College hurt a state like New Hampshire?
Well, first of all, New Hampshire's status as an early primary state is one of the things that sees to it that there is a lot of attention paid here. And it's actually something that I think forces us candidates to get out of national media mode and actually engage people in a human way, which is helpful. But when it comes to the general election, at risk of sounding simplistic, I think the right thing to do is just to have everybody's vote count the same. Look, states don't vote, people vote. And
He's extremely progressive, wants to get rid of the Electoral College.
Right. In New Hampshire, which would diminish their effectiveness.
But he also
but the people clapped loudly when he said that.
Well, because they're all his friends. I think he's related to the whole audience.
They sound like aliens. What is this will of the people concept of which you humans speak? I mean, I would watch more episodes of Fox and Friends if just them hearing views like that means that they would go into just complete short circuit mode and then stroke out right there live on television.
The concept that anybody could believe something that they have been told not to believe is foreign to them.
Or that, more importantly, that people would do something that took something potentially an advantage away from them for the greater good. That's what they can't believe. That's why they keep saying, well, wouldn't that hurt New Hampshire? Isn't that bad? You know, so the idea that people in New Hampshire would support something that ultimately gives them slightly less power for a general principle, that's what they can't understand.
Right, that's something that goes against the Fox playbook. Good point.
I love the stuff they come up with when they said that the whole audience is his friends. Like, there should be a sketch show where we can like show like, okay, so here's a sketch where we show, you know, Pete Buttigieg calling all his friends saying like, hey, so I'm gonna be doing this thing for like Fox News. Can you come? You down? And then like, okay, cool. Well, I have like, you know, 500 other people to call because I have a lot of friends.
Was that just a dig at like how small New Hampshire is?
Or I don't know. You know, they make him sound like he has a lot of friends, and that's a good thing. That means he's liked. Like, are they that unlikable? They're like, ugh, we only have 2 friends. Oh wait,
and we booked him on a bringer show.
And here's the thing: it's a Fox audience. Like, it's their audience, so they're upset at how their audience reacted.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, come on. We've talked about they're not exactly rocket scientists. You know, I mean, they probably forgot by the time they went on. Or they would think that their audience had forgotten that they had put their own, you know, that it was Fox News watchers in the audience. Hey, let's just say they're all Mayor Pete's friends. Yeah, well, that's what we'll do.
Typically, Democratic candidates garner the lion's share of celebrity endorsements. There are some who will endorse a Republican candidate for office, as we can see from this clip of a cringeworthy rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner as performed at a Trump rally by Ted Nugent.
We will make America great again, and we will make Michigan great again. Won't we? Live it up. Have a great hunting season. Kill lots of shit.
Kill lots of shit is coincidentally Trump's immigration policy.
Is that song called Cat Scratch COVID?
Wow. Wow. That was wow.
That's really going to do very well with the senior vote, don't you think?
Well, I like how Ted Nugent talks to his audience like they're children, especially where he goes, won't we? Michigan's going to be great, won't it? Yes, it will.
Well, you know, Tommy has a long history of being very interested in underage people, so that doesn't surprise me.
That was just the most painful rendition of that. I mean, literally after the first 15 seconds, it was just like him thinking he was on stage at like Woodstock or something. Ooh.
Well, no, the version at Woodstock was actually good.
Yeah. Well, he already had the brown acid. So
it's like I could imagine, like, even the most hardcore, red-blooded American who loves hearing the national anthem, even they would hear about 15 seconds of that and go, okay, that's enough. I heard enough.
Well, the funny thing is, again, playing trumpet and the youth activity is music. All you hear a lot of times from the extreme right is, just play the damn tune. Stop embellishing about that. I mean, that wasn't even that barely started out to be the Star Spangled Banner and ended up some kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan just did 3 triple somersaults in his grave over that. It was horrible.
Well, if it's any consolation, I did have mercy on you guys and I edited that clip.
Oh, God bless your soul.
Well, the other big Republican supporter out of Michigan that's a rock star is Kid Rock. So I don't know, guys. Who would we rather in this scenario?
How do you want to die? By hanging or a gunshot? Wow.
The only way I want to see Ted Nugent or Kid Rock dressed in camouflage is if there's a possibility of getting shot in an armed conflict.
I was about to say if they were both had antlers strapped to their head and I had a loaded gun.
I actually think the only person missing from that visual trifecta is that guy from the Tiger King.
Before Ted Nugent shoots him. Bam!
Lady Gaga, on the other hand, was in Pittsburgh yesterday with Joe Biden.
I saw that, yeah.
And Dolly Parton is just...
Oh, right.
There is one more thing keeping Mitch McConnell from losing his grip on the United States Senate, much in the same way he tries to maintain his grip on staying alive. It's the 2 Senate runoff elections in Georgia. This past Sunday saw 2 Senate debates. The second of the 2 runoff debates was between Senator Kelly Loeffler of Trump Land and Reverend Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Like a good Trump Party member, Kelly Loeffler remembered her talking points like a pro. Unfortunately for her, she didn't seem to remember anything else, as we can see in these excerpts from her debate performance.
Chuck Schumer said, now we take Georgia, then we change America. The promise that Chuck Schumer made was to fundamentally change America, and I'm making sure that we don't go down the road of socialism. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up working in the fields. I waitressed my way through school, and I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I worked hard to live the American dream. The Democrats want to fundamentally change America, and the agent of change is my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock. I'm fighting for the American dream every day. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock has partnered with Stacey Abrams. Well, predictably, you've just heard more lies from radical liberal Raphael Warnock. My opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, would be a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer. You've just heard radical liberal Raphael Warnock lie again and not answer a question. And my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, would be a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. I have been blessed to live the American dream. I was born and raised on a farm. I grew up working in the fields. I started filling out a time card when I was 11. I waitressed my way through high school and college. And I also know I'm blessed to live the American dream, and that's why I'm fighting to protect it. But my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, is a socialist. I was blessed to live the American dream. Look, these are more lies from radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Everything's at stake on January 5th, the future of the country. We can take the path of supporting the American dream, or we can take the path of socialism that radical liberal Raphael Warnock wants to bring to our country.
If only there was a way to tell the political affiliation of the candidates.
Right. I was just wondering, wait, which side is he on? Is he, what are his politics and how extreme is he? I just couldn't.
All I see is a wig like Bugs Bunny used to dress up in, going, my name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. My name is Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. Oh, my God.
By the way, I promise I didn't just cut and paste the same clip when I did the editing. I mean, that was half the time she said radical liberal Raphael Warnock. When I was editing for this episode, the actual clip I was going to show was about 5 minutes long.
Oh,
and
God.
then I just said, okay, I can't listen to this. I had to cut it down.
She's defending America against socialism. The same person whose family farm has taken $3 million in subsidies from the taxpayers. It's the same person who just financed a campaign airplane at the expense of the taxpayers. But she's defending America against Chuck Schumer. And why did she pick Chuck Schumer, folks? Because he's Jewish. That's why.
Oh.
And she's got the charisma of a prostate exam.
Yeah.
I think
Not one you schedule, but one like you're just walking along,
something the wrong way.
just walking down the street one day, and then a prostate jumps out of the bushes.
Folks, you just saw people put together a good joke there, because Jay said she has the charisma of a prostate exam, and then Violet made the joke better by saying it's a unscheduled prostate exam.
And Jeff ruined it by explaining how the joke just worked.
And then I just ruined it. That's right. But Tom will edit that out, so no one will know what I just did.
Leave that in.
At the very least, it will go in the best of and unheard clip section.
That's for the Patreons.
I mean, it was almost like whenever you turn into a top 40 radio station, always the moment you turn in, it's the same songs that you keep hearing over and over again. That was her debate performance, basically.
Yes, it was basically her debate performance was the greatest hits of Kelly Loeffler's debate performance.
Yeah, it was "Sweet Child of Mine" on your classic rock station for the 17th time.
Yeah, but it's just the chorus over and over.
Right.
And in that song, the sweet child was born on a farm and worked waitressing tables.
Right.
I don't know if you mentioned that.
And didn't mention that she's married to the president of New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, yeah. Like most hard working class Americans are.
That's my American dream. That's who I want to marry.
You want to marry the president of the New York Stock Exchange?
I mean, who wouldn't?
I'm not gay, but I would consider it for the package deal,
Right. You get your private jet, and
I'll give a handy to the bull down in Wall Street. I'm right here. I can go in the city.
Jeff, congratulations. Something has just bumped your explaining of the joke out of the Not one to be denied a voice by those they deem the fake news media, these Trump supporters provide an introspective and emotional view, as we can see in this video.
What is it that brings you out here tonight, ma'am?
I just believe in America, and I think Trump is the president, so.
I think he's the greatest president we've ever had. I'm too emotional, but I'm really thankful that I've been invited here, so.
Tell me what makes you emotional about the president?
What he's done for the country, all his policy changes, what he's done for Black and brown Americans, and what he's done for Hispanic people, and this, I'm trying to think. And we have Colombians, we have Venezuelans, we have Cubans that have come here from their socialist country and now live in Florida, and they're for Trump. We have all these states that are open, and some of these states that aren't open, I don't understand why. The COVID figures they're projecting right now, in my opinion, are a hoax. They're not as high as they are. The media is being false, and our Father who art in heaven is very angry with the media. He's very angry with Biden and Kamala Harris. They're going to hell, and they're going to have to ask forgiveness for that. And if they don't, they're going to hell. I've asked the Holy Spirit, I've asked the angels to take him, have Satan give him a tour of hell, and I'm hoping it happens soon.
I think we're already there, judging by that guy.
How much worse could that guy be feeling? Like, what was that? I mean, what?
I found myself agreeing with something he said, though. He said that he gets very emotional thinking about all that Trump has done for the country and for Black and brown Americans and for Latino Americans. I get very emotional about that also.
Agreed.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction.
Right. Yes.
Shireen, you have got to have some thoughts on this Florida man.
Well, there was two things that were really bugging me. One, his voice did not match his face. Like, that is not what a crackhead sounds like. That is all that I could keep thinking about. I was like, that is not the guy's voice. And then the second piece was like, I was like, oh my God, Tom, stop playing this, because I could see myself like listening to this and start like, I get scared, like how these people get brainwashed. Like, how much do you have to listen to this to actually fall into that brainwashed category? Like, that scares me. I was just like, oh my God, if I keep listening to him, I might actually agree with something he says.
I actually found it soothing. You know, there was the piano music in the background, and that piano music actually helped to cover up the fact that, you know, he sounded like a dick.
No, he did. But then I was like nervous. I was like, oh my God, if he keeps going, I might get brainwashed. Like, the music was like that hypnosis, like, you will believe. Brown people are bad. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm a bad person.
And I know this is an audio podcast, but Tom showed us the video, and he was wearing a mask despite the fact that COVID's overrated, except he wasn't wearing it over his face. He was wearing it on his neck and his chin.
If the only mask that you had was a Trump mask, would you wear it correctly? No, you'd want to just kind of keep it off to the side. Maybe wear it as an ascot, you know.
Did anybody else just feel like that was a real roller coaster of emotions? Like, I'm all for a sensitive man. I appreciate that he is willing to get, you know, very open on camera, but that was just an up and down. I mean, that was all over the place. I thought he was going to cry for a while, and then he got real hopeful. Then he started talking about Jesus. Then he got vengeful. Like, it was all stages of like grief in a 1-minute clip.
Abby, you just gave him a line for his Parler profile, called a sensitive man by a liberal.
That's a badge, right? That's a badge of honor.
Right.
Hey, a liberal once called me sensitive, so this can't be a microaggression.
One of the attendees of Trump's rally in Tulsa was Herman Cain, who later caught COVID and was dead within weeks. Some people recognize him from his 2012 presidential campaign. Some people recognize him from being the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, his 999 tax plan. But I prefer to remember this clip from the 1990s, singing about his love of pizza to a very familiar tune.
Imagine there's no pizza. I couldn't if I tried. Eating only tacos or Kentucky Fried. Imagine only burgers is frightening and sad. You don't have to pick it up now. On my skateboard I will go. I'll be back in 30 minutes. I just bought
You'd be forgiven for thinking that Mark David Chapman shot the wrong singer.
What did I just hear? And how can I get those minutes of my life back?
Oh, that was fantastic. I love a parody song. He did such a great job on that. I'm eating only tacos or fried Kentucky Fried. Imagine only burgers. Personally, I like to imagine that this is actually just a commentary on America's over-reliance on the meat industry.
His Twitter feed, though, even though he's passed, his Twitter feed's still going, right?
Yeah. So he may not be able to talk about politics with family at the Thanksgiving dinner table, but his Twitter feed still can. But I mean, he sings "Imagine No More Pizza." I was a road comic and ate like one for 10 years, My colon and my asshole would be thrilled if I imagined there was no more pizza.
God, that's an image I didn't need.
Makes that song sound so much more wholesome now, does it?
Doesn't it?
The alternatives he gave you were tacos, burgers, and fried chicken. That's the lyrics of the song. Those are your only alternatives in this world.
I have to
Right.
admit, pizza probably wins with most of those. On certain times, fried chicken will work, but mostly it's going to be pizza.
In 2017, Michelle Bachmann said she considered running for the U.S. Senate seat in Minnesota, but was awaiting God's counsel before making her decision. She hasn't yet officially made up her mind, as God still hasn't stopped laughing his ass off at the idea. Donald Trump sent his longtime friend Rudy Giuliani to Philadelphia to hold a news conference about the alleged voter fraud claims. During his campaign, Trump said, "Bad things happen in Philadelphia." Indeed, by sending Rudy Giuliani, he reminded us that even worse things happen in hotel rooms booked by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Good one.
I was going to try and show the clip of Rudy Giuliani's news conference in Philadelphia where he alleges the ballot fraud, but I would have to edit so much misinformation out of the video that I would be left with a noun, a verb, and a plug for his favorite local small business owned sex shop. Instead, I'll give you this memorable moment from a charity event in 2000.
You know, you're really beautiful. I mean, it looks like that. Oh, have her own special scent.
Oh, thank you. Maybe you could tell me what you think of this scent.
I like that.
This may be the best of all. Oh, you dirty boy, you. Oh. Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.
You can't say I didn't try.
You know, once you motorboat a New York City mayor in drag, even, if you're Donald Trump, you'd feel like a dick if you didn't, have him help you try to gaslight the country.
Lucy, I think we're all going to need to get sessions with you after watch.
There's no word for how appalled I am at just the utter sleaziness of these people. Pure sleaze.
I mean, this was back before Trump dipped his foot into the pool of politics. So I'm pretty sure this is done as kind of an entertainment type thing. But I mean, even so, it does put it in a nefarious life given what's happening now.
And you also need to watch when you use the phrase that Trump is dipping his anything into anyone. I think we're all done with that.
I specified the right body part.
Yes, you did.
Before we go, my final thought. As we approach the holiday season, let's all be considerate of one another. I especially want to address this to everybody who caters to holiday shoppers. Please make sure all your customers practice shopping very safely, maintain social distancing, and wearing a mask. And if any of your customers refuse to do that, do the only humanitarian thing possible. Telling their kids that the coronavirus killed Santa Claus. Good night.
Just when I think you can't say something more fucked than I've ever heard you say before, you come up with Rona killed Santa, kids. Oh my gosh.
This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Heisen, Abby Mello, JJ Boyd, Michelle Wojciechowski, Tara Haley, Susan Turnbull, Lucy Strasball, Shireen Kassam, Linda Landeros, and Violet Gray. Special thanks to Robbie Goodwin, Debbie Abrams-Kaplan, Ken Water, and Michelle Wojciechowski. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenhurik. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us. Welcome to the Tom Myers versus the rest of the world 2020 Year in Recoil special. This year saw the loss of Regis Philbin, Sean Connery, and Alex Trebek. All three are perfect examples of people who tapped into our consciousness and knew what we were all really thinking. They experienced 2020 and they all said, fuck this shit, I'm out. I have a theory. I have a theory that the Earth for years has been one of God's toys and that 2020 is the year he has finally gotten tired of playing with it. We got to witness a pandemic caused by government inaction so bad that it not only infected Donald Trump and a lot of his aides, but also the chair of the Republican National Committee, Ronna Romney McDaniel. How fitting for 2020 that one of the more high-profile people to get this virus is named Rona. Things got so bad this year during the pandemic that even Disney closed. How difficult would it have been to explain your children that the reason Snow White was sleeping was because she was on a ventilator? Other Western industrialized countries showed that they handled the coronavirus much better than the United States. In New Zealand, their contact tracing efforts are so good that they managed to trace one outbreak down to a trash can lid. Meanwhile, in this country, that trash can lid will get its own show on the Fox Business Network. Subbing for Lou Dobbs. The first shipment of the COVID-19 vaccines was 2.9 million doses. However, significantly less doses will make it into people's arms, owing to the careless manner in which FedEx drivers handle packages. There have been a few allergic reactions to the vaccine, with most of them occurring in Alaska, of all places. It's nice to know scientists will discover an adverse reaction when the vaccine is mixed with a diet of whale blubber. Donald Trump issued pardons to several people before Christmas, including campaign advisors and former Republican members of Congress who are among his earliest supporters. Bill Cosby's lawyers are now trying to convince the White House that Cliff Huxtable would have been a Trump supporter. This year saw the increase in pet owners naming their dogs Fauci. Not true for Trump supporters, obviously. They named their dogs Lindsey Graham. Trump is reportedly moving ahead with allowing executions before he leaves office. He's like the Oprah Winfrey of capital punishment. You get a lethal injection, and you get a lethal injection. Vice President Mike Pence will oversee the electoral vote count in Congress on January 6th, and then will reportedly leave the country for a tour of Europe. Finally, a member of the Trump-Pence ticket is doing something to make America great by fucking off before his term ends. Melania Trump reportedly asked if she got to keep her First Lady salary after she leaves the White House. In fact, she only gets a $20,000 pension once she's widowed. Just what Trump needs. Someone else who wishes he was dead. And now, on with the show. Joining me tonight to discuss this year, Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, Michelle Wojciechowski, and Shireen Kassam.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Tom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for
Abby, how was everything on your end?
All right. Like I said before we started, I'm hanging out with some family. We made the long haul trek to the middle of the country so that we could all be together, and we are laying as low as possible and just hanging out.
That is actually a dream of mine, to just, lay low, hang out, except minus all the family, being as antisocial as I am.
Yeah. I'm in the basement right now, so. I will say though, out here in the middle of nowhere, you could see the Christmas star, the planetary alignment really well, which was very cool.
But basically, you're just rubbing it in, where if it's not cloud cover over the East Coast, then it's basically just
light pollution,
or gunfire, or just tiki torches from so much outdoor dining. Jeff, how about yourself?
Very, very glad that the new year is upon us. I've oversaturated, I think, on cable news in 2020 to the point where, with about 2 weeks to go, I had it, and I could no longer watch Rachel Maddow or any of my favorites on MSNBC, because the news was never good. It was never optimistic. At least with the election coming up, there was the hope, the promise, and then the good news that Joe won. But at the end of this year, it's become, what stupid, illegal thing is this guy going to do on the way out? Is he going to unscrew the doorknobs and take them too and then sell them on eBay? Because that may have happened. So I've had it. I am ready to turn the calendar and look forward to better things in starting in 3 weeks.
Yeah, to me, 2020 has felt so long. It seems like it started when Donald Trump rode down the escalator to announce his candidacy.
Yes.
It's been that long.
Yes.
Michelle, how about yourself?
Oh, I'm right with Jeff. I cannot wait until 2021 hits. I mean, 2020, like you said, it seemed so incredibly long. It makes my name look like Smith. I just came up with that one. That was pretty good.
No, it is. Yeah.
But I agree with what Jeff is saying. I mean, after Joe won, something that I've noticed, especially, on social media, especially on Twitter, is Trump is just not getting nearly as much attention. So I feel like he's, I'm waiting for him to like firebomb something or, was it this week or last week? He signed an executive order talking about the architecture in DC. Really? This is like all he can do? Like all the architecture has to be traditional and it has to look beautiful. And I thought, oh my God, just leave. Leave.
It's probably because he, with all that Secret Service protection and all the media attention focused on him, he can't do what he really wants to do with the architecture. And that's basically just walk around DC and just piss all over each monument like a deranged homeless person.
Yeah. I think if we all listen really closely, we can probably hear and smell the shredders overheating in the White House right now. Because I can't even imagine the stuff they're getting rid of. I can't even imagine what's happening. And it's cracking me up the last couple weeks, just people in different positions whom Trump appointed are saying, oh, I'm quitting as of blah, 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 as of December 20. Who cares? You were on your way out in another few weeks anyway. It's gotten so bad. My husband and I are keeping a countdown. I have those magic markers that you can write on windows with. I'm like a 5-year-old inside and I'm like, yay, I can write on the windows. So on the back of our clear back door, every day, one of us changes the number. When we get,
that's a good idea.
It's something that makes you feel good from the morning on. And it's sad to say that, but this year, I just can't, what's weird? I don't know how you all have felt, but once we got into the COVID way of life, so to speak, like whatever this new normal is, we're kind of going along. And then all of a sudden, once in a while, I'll just say to myself, oh my God, there is a global wide pandemic that I am living through. It's almost like you push it out of your mind so that you can keep functioning, and sometimes when it hits you, it reminds me of when someone passes away and you start to get your life back. And then all of a sudden you say, oh my God, this person isn't here. And it's like someone has knocked the chair out from under you. So, hey, welcome to the positivity part of the podcast.
I tell you what, I bet your neighbors especially are loving the window countdown that you guys are doing. Basically what you were saying before about, all these administration officials deciding they're going to leave before Trump does. It's like being told by your boss, like, look, you're fired, it's just not working out. Like you're finish up your shift and then go home and then just be like, well, fuck you. I'm leaving 6 hours before the end of my shift.
I'm out of here. Big deal. In 6 more hours, you were out of here anyway.
Shireen, how about yourself?
I feel like the odd one out. I don't want the year to end.
What is wrong with you?
I'm like nervous with the vaccine now. It's like, oh my God, I might have to like go interact with people again. And like,
that's because you live in Florida.
my clothes don't fit. Like, what am I going to do?
Let me give you a little piece of advice here. Nobody's clothes fit right now. Everyone's wearing elastic pants. Nobody can fit into jeans.
But one day they're just going to say, like on a Friday, they're going to be like, everything's open, everyone go out. And like Friday night, everybody's going to want to go to the club. And I'm not going to have anything to wear. I mean, the clubs are open here. I don't even know what I'm saying. But like, because I am in Florida. But yeah, I love sitting at home. I love not having to see people and talk to people. And I think, honestly, I think Joe Biden needs some more time to get ready for his big day. Like if people are already blaming him for the stimulus package, and I'm just like, oh, no, we need time. We need time to like set things straight if there's a way to do that.
So the same people probably who are claiming that the election was rigged, they're also claiming that, you know, the guy who they say didn't win the election is screwing things up, basically.
Yep, basically.
Well, on the subject of the election and all, I mean, Michelle can attest to this. I don't actually know if you've seen any of this, but every single Sunday, like near where I live, they do an entire caravan of vehicles that wave Trump 2020 flags.
Yep.
So they go all over my county. They start at the local park and ride, and they go through and they tie up traffic is what they do. They take all the main highways and go through a couple of the towns in the county where I live. It's basically like a funeral procession, except unlike a real funeral procession, everybody's happy, almost like it's the funeral of a relative that nobody liked at all, and they're all waiting to hear what the inheritance is going to be.
What's the point of it? To show how stupid they are, or is it just like masturbation for them?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they've learned from McConnell, and it's just obstruction. That's what they've learned. So that's what they're doing.
Actually, if I were allowed to masturbate in my vehicle while being in that caravan, I might join them.
And with that said, we'll never look at that caravan again.
Moving on.
Thank you.
10 years ago, I was waiting in a hotel lobby in Kansas, waiting to perform, while a woman was on her phone in the lobby of this hotel talking about her granddaughter studying pre-med. She was saying, I don't understand why she has to take so many biology courses to study medicine. I mean, biology is biology. 10 years later, we've just been through an election where 47% of American voters selected a candidate whose slogan may as well have been, fuck science. Thus clearly demonstrating why the rest of the world looks at us like we're idiots. And why they're right. Adding to their case is the extreme reaction to the results of our presidential election, where the few shreds of dignity that we display to the rest of the world is the only thing keeping us from turning into a full-blown authoritarian state. Despite his best efforts to control the narrative about how he was cheated out of an election, he came off as a deranged dictator, knowing that his reign is coming to an end, as we can see from this election night footage.
I want to thank the American people for their tremendous support. Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight. And a very sad group of people is trying to disenfranchise that group of people. And we won't stand for it. We will not stand for it. And we were getting ready for a big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. I spoke with the really wonderful governor of Texas just a little while ago, and Greg Abbott, he said, congratulations. He called me to congratulate me on winning Texas. I mean, we won Texas. I don't think they finished quite the tabulation, but there's no way. And it was almost complete, but he congratulated me. Then he said, by the way, what's going on? I've never seen anything like this. Can I tell you what? Nobody has. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, this is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
I think it's lost on a lot of Trump supporters that as he is saying this is a fraud on the American public, this is an embarrassment to our country, they're watching Donald Trump speak.
I have to be honest, I kind of sympathize with him. You know, he was winning and he was winning, and then all of a sudden he was losing. And I'm a Steelers fan, and I feel that.
He probably did a count of people in the White House, saw that he was ahead, and figured that was it.
Exactly.
It's like that comic who does a comedy contest. He invites all his friends, and then he only places like third, or he doesn't make the semifinals and wonders why, you know, he didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about that.
This year saw Trump's battles with the mainstream media come to a head. When confronted with things like what he said and what he did, he is all too quick to embody the new American spirit. Give up and retreat to the bubble you created and that you know so well, as we can see from this 60 Minutes interview.
Do you think that your tweets and your name calling are turning people off?
No, I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't have social media.
Well,
But the media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media, I'd have no way of getting out my voice.
Do you know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you
You've
told me.
discredited yourself.
You know, I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that
Well, I said
were
I'm going to ask you
inappropriately brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately
But-
brought up right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions.
Why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe, the interview with
I
Joe Biden.
never did a Joe
It was a
Biden
joke.
interview.
The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard.
Okay, but forget him for a minute.
No, but you
You're
start with
president,
me.
You're president. And
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's no way to talk. That's no way to talk.
Leslie, one second.
At this point, one of our producers interrupted to advise about the time remaining in the interview.
I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you in a little while. Thanks.
Be careful.
We were scheduled to take a walk with the president around the White House grounds.
I've got a lot of questions I didn't ask.
When Trump says that you were the one who did this interview, you 60 Minutes did this interview, I don't even think he knows that all of these reporters are different people. I think he thinks that all of these reporters are just rolled up into one super reporter who is just out to take him down.
And she hadn't even interviewed Biden at that time. And it never occurs to him or his staff how weak he looked. And this was pre-election. Let's remember that time frame. So he looked weak to many people. He couldn't even stand up to Leslie Stahl.
I never thought I'd have to see these again. You're really sparking up my PTSD here.
I was going to say I didn't watch it the first time. And that's one of the things that's been so weird for me in 2020. Well, in the last 4 years, I was very politically involved for most of my life. And it got to the point where I can't watch him. I can't watch him. I can't listen to him. I listen to little sound bites, but I'd rather read that he walked off, or read that because it doesn't annoy me nearly as much. So thanks, Tom. We're just
Yeah, we can't hit the mute button. Thanks a lot, pal.
This episode is called Year in Recoil.
But Michelle, it was actually funny because I remember the newspaper started to talk about this video before the video came out. Like it was like building up anticipation for Sunday. And everyone on social media was arguing like, he didn't really walk out. They're making it up. The media is always exaggerating. So it was like you had to watch it to actually see that it happened. And then you're like, oh my God, it really did happen. The president got upset on national TV and walked off stage. I mean, I don't even think the newspapers did it justice for how amazing it was if you're an anti-Trump supporter.
Well, the White House put the video, the full unedited video, on Facebook. Like, they had a separate camera there that wasn't the CBS camera, and they put the whole thing on Facebook. So if you wanted to just see Trump have a and if you wanted to see Trump have a meltdown, you didn't even need to watch 60 Minutes.
I mean, I think at least during 2020, PTSD took on a new meaning, and that's Trump stress or disorder. Okay, let me try that again. Moving on.
I don't think that he thinks all of the anchors are the same. I think he just has face blindness for women over the age of 25. They just
absolutely
all look exactly the same to him.
Yep. Who aren't blonde and don't look like his daughter.
To be fair, Melania says that Trump never lasts the length of a TV interview.
Oh.
Do you even think that, he was with Melania when they conceived Barron? Do you think that, like, he was probably conceived by someone taking a sample from Trump and then inseminating Melania like you do when you breed bulldogs?
Well, they don't cook their own Thanksgiving, so somebody's got to use the turkey baster for something.
That task probably went to Michael Cohen.
Oh. Or Eric. Okay. They seem to give all the crap jobs to Eric. So.
Okay, I think we've covered that topic enough, so we will move on. This year saw the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the time a dead whale washed up in Oregon. This report from that occurrence shows an interesting way they set about to clear the beach of such an eyesore.
It had to be said, the Oregon State Highway Division not only had a whale of a problem on its hands, it had a stinking whale of a problem. What to do with one 45-foot, 8-ton whale dead on arrival on the beach near Florence. It had been so long since a whale had washed up in Lane County, nobody could remember how to get rid of one. In selecting its battle plan, the Highway Division decided the carcass couldn't be buried because it might soon be uncovered. It couldn't be cut up and then buried because nobody wanted to cut it up, and it couldn't be burned. So dynamite it was, some 20 cases or a half-ton of it. The hope was that the long-dead Pacific gray whale would be almost disintegrated by the blast, and that any small pieces still around after the explosion would be taken care of by seagulls and other scavengers. Indeed, the seagulls had been standing nearby all day. As everything was being made ready, we asked George Thornton, the highway engineer in charge of the project, for his final observation.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing, so the scavengers, seagulls and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Is there any chance it might be more than a one-day job?
If there's any large chunks left, and we may have to do some other cleanup, possibly set another charge.
The dynamite was buried primarily on the leeward side of the big mammal, so as most of the remains would be blown toward the sea. About 75 bystanders, most of them residents who had first found the whale to be an object of curiosity before they tired of its smell, were moved back a quarter of a mile away. The sand dunes there were covered with spectators and landlubber newsmen, shortly to become land blubber newsmen, for the blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds. Our cameras stopped rolling immediately after the blast. The humor of the entire situation suddenly gave way to a run for survival as huge chunks of whale blubber fell everywhere. Pieces of meat passed high over our heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale. As for the success of the effort, well, the seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion or kept away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle anyway. As darkness began to set in, the highway crews were back on the beach burying the remains, including a large piece of the carcass which never left the blast site. It might be concluded that should a whale ever wash ashore in Lane County again, those in charge will not only remember what to do, they'll certainly remember what not to do.
I love this story. I know, but I love it.
Here's why I love that story. I like to think that's the moment that the women's lib movement really kicked off, when they saw a bunch of men standing around a beach doing something so stupid that they collectively said, "We've had enough of this shit."
Worst Gallagher show ever.
I feel like that whole thing was a metaphor for Trump. Like, big fat guy, you know, like just not sure what to do with him. And no matter what you do to Trump, he doesn't go away. He just makes a bigger and bigger mess. Like,
And there's a horrible smell.
Yes.
I always assume that too.
Not even the seagulls will eat him.
Exactly.
And yet, even though we tried to blow him up, there are pieces of him all over the area, and part of him still remains.
Yep. It's Trump. That's why it's Trump. Like, it was a foreshadowing from the 70s.
I think Shireen's just happy because it's something stupid that happened on a beach and it wasn't in Florida.
I know, right? I was thinking that. I was like, wait, did we ship people there to help them with the situation? But I don't know who was stupider, the people who thought it was a good idea or the people who went to watch it.
Little column A, little column B. I do love that they named it Exploding Whale Park. It's now that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's hilarious.
As you know, never forget. Hashtag never forget.
On that note, that's our show. I want to thank Jeff Hyson, Abby Mello, Michelle Wojciechowski, and Shireen Kassam.
Hey. Woo.
Thanks.
And before we go, my final thought for the year 2020. At my local pizza place, they had a drawing/giveaway for a PlayStation 5, and I ended up with it. I didn't win the drawing. I just took the display model off the table when no one was looking. During this time of festivity, peace, love, and goodwill, we really need to look at the good in situations. For example, when you hear of a police officer injured or killed in the line of duty, think of the silver lining. One less unarmed black person dying in custody. People seem to not want to think of me as having a positive outlook. This year, someone commented on a photo of me. He looks like he wants to hate fuck a Pokemon. Little did he know that's on my bucket list. And it was the only thing that actually made me want to play Pokemon Go. Despite the realist nature of these statements I'm making here, I have to believe there is inherent good, not only in all situations, but in all people. For example, take the person who came up with the expression, "all aboard the Trump train." When I heard that, I thought to myself, what a stupid expression. Because if you're trying to convince people that your candidate isn't sympathetic to Nazis, then the last image you want to conjure up is getting a whole bunch of people on board a train. But then I had a change of heart about that. Maybe "all aboard the Trump train" was coined by the autistic son of a campaign staffer who simply didn't have the heart to tell him how fucking stupid that slogan is. I'm always leery of jumping to that default mechanism that's often in people's minds and quickly making such comparisons. You see, it's really unfair to compare Trump to Hitler, because at least Hitler had the common decency to commit suicide when his reign came to an end. I know that last statement seems a bit inflammatory, but if that upsets you, then take to heart the slogan on your boy's campaign flag, "fuck your feelings." Statements like that make the chances of me getting booked at a major comedy club slightly less than the chances of North Korea making their own rendition of the TV show Undercover Boss. Every episode ends the same: Kim Jong-un summarily executing everyone in the workplace. Simply put, I'm too blunt and brutal and honest. I'm known as a straight shooter. You don't believe me? Watch me next time I clean off my computer monitor. And now, let me conclude the year 2020 the only way I know how, by declaring that Deliverance is a Christmas movie. Happy New Year, everybody. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers, with panelists Jeff Hyson and Abby Mello, and guests Michelle Wojciechowski and Shireen Kassam. Theme music by Jeroen van den Hurk. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for IPM Nation, Matt Connerton. For more information, visit tommyers.us.